Let me just refresh real quick and make sure we're live. How's it going, everybody? We're going to let some people get in here first before we get started. But we have a lot to talk about, thankfully. I was a little worried halfway through the week, but a lot of companies pulled through. How's everybody doing tonight? Sorry we didn't do Thursday. It was my birthday yesterday, and we had some stuff planned that I didn't know about, so we're doing it on Friday. I know a lot of people are busy on Fridays, so I prefer not to do it today, but I at least wanted to get something in this week because there was so much to talk about, and I wanted to give my take, and our guests who are going to be coming on in a little bit, they wanted to give their take as well, so... Give it a couple minutes and then we'll start. I have a minute or so, actually, not a couple minutes, a minute or so, and then we'll get started. Today, I think Lane's going to be joining us as well as Collecting Madness again, just like we had last week. So they'll probably be in here with that. Can't talk. About 15 minutes. All right, we'll get started here. I know there's only a couple people in here, but I'll just start showing off a couple things and share my thoughts on it. So here we have the coming soon page pulled up. There's a few things on here that have been on here for a long time, but it's interesting every time we go back and look at the coming soon page, something is different. And it seems like Sideshow is actively taking things off of here and putting things in different places that weren't there before. We saw this with Bespin Luke. Actually, I got really lucky and called it when the Bespin Luke was actually moved to the top of the coming soon page. And obviously, when stuff like that happens, you can't just assume that that means something. Thankfully, in our case, it did. When the Bespin Luke was moved to the top of the page, he actually was announced the following day in the morning, our time. So that was pretty awesome to see that actually small things like that can mean something. But I wanted to take a look at a few of the figures here and kind of see what I think would be possible in terms of more releases coming from Attack of the Clones. So this is a big one here that I know everybody's been looking at and asking for a long time, but I'm not sure that this is where Hot Toys is looking right now. The reason I say that is yes, Kit Fisto had a big role in the Clone Wars series, but he did have a kind of a minor on-screen role in the two films that he was in, Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So I don't know if this would be one that they would see as commercially successful if they were to put this figure out. Me personally, would I buy it? Probably, because it's another Jedi General, but I don't know if Hot Toys would consider this a release that they need to put out now. I would like to see a bit of an update on the fit of the robes and such. But apart from that, I do think the sculpt looks pretty good. Obviously here we're looking at a prototype. The paint could be a little bit better, but again, this is not only a prototype, but this was a figure that was shown in 2019. So obviously their paint apps and such have improved since then. So I think it's not a bad idea if they were to put it out. It's just, will it be commercially successful to where they can meet their numbers? It remains to be seen. One that I personally really want and that I've been looking at and hoping for a while, and been hoping that we get like a surprise announcement, is Padme. And everybody's talking about Padme right now. And I think it's a good sign that not only we got the tease for Mace Windu a couple weeks ago, but also we got Natalie Portman is going to be Lady Thor in the new Thor movie. So it would make sense if they were to get the license for that, for both sculpts at the same time. kind of to time the releases together, so it kind of knocks out two birds in one stone. Episode 2 face. Yeah, I mean, I do think in terms of this figure, it definitely needs an update. The reason I say that is if you look closely, the detail's not quite there, and it's not 100% Natalie Portman, but I think if you look at the outfit, for me personally, I think this would be the ideal release for me in terms of the outfit. And the only reason I say that is because, you know, if we get the cut-up outfit, that brings seamless arms, and obviously seamless arms come with their own challenges. You can't really pose it how you want to because of the fear of damaging them in the future if you leave them in a bent position for a long time. And not only that, the surface is also... Oh, I'm sorry, you're talking about Kit Fisto. Gotcha. I'll touch on that in a second. Let me just finish my thought. But not only are the arms prone to being damaged, but also obviously the surface. I don't know if you guys have seen surface damage before on seamless arms, but it seems to happen very easily on even a lot of the newer figures from both Marvel and Star Wars. So the best case scenario is we avoid the seamless arms altogether and they give us this look. I know everybody loves the Geonosis battle look with the torn shirt and such, but I think this is the ideal look just for longevity of the figure. I like to talk about longevity a lot, and I think this is ideal as far as longevity of the figure. So Raxus said Kit Fisto. Sorry for misunderstanding you earlier. He said Kit Fisto needs the episode 2 face. Yeah, I think obviously, going off of your point, I think obviously because of all the Attack of the Clones releases that not only have already came out, but they've teased are going to be coming out in the future, I think that's probably the best route for them to go, to stick with the accuracy of the episode 2 line. So I think if they were to release that figure, they would definitely have to make some updates to it, because in its current state, it's not perfect, and it's also not accurate to episode 2. That's a good point that you made there. So let's move on to another one, which I think, apart from the one that we're going to look at after this, I think this is the most likely, and I think a lot of you guys would agree. We did just get the... Yeah, that's a good point. It doesn't look great, but you got to admit, though the sculpt doesn't look great, it is kind of accurate to how he looked. That's one of those characters that I think personally, from coming from like the 2003 Clone Wars and the Clone Wars show, I don't think he translated well to live action as far as the look. That's just my personal opinion. Again, I would still probably pick up the figure just because it's a Jedi General that I would like to add to my collection, but not my favorite costume design. But anyway, so this I think is a very possible release that we may get sooner than later. And I think a lot of people would agree, mainly because this is a figure that's kind of a repaint of what we just got, being the Geonosis battle droid. Not only that, I believe it was at one of the Sideshow cons last year, or maybe even early this year, but I believe it was last year. We saw the battle droid with the stap being shown off in their booth. Unfortunately, we haven't seen anything else from that, but that might be for good reason. They may have waited to announce the Geonosis figure, kind of see how the initial sales went, and then they're going to drop this standard battle droid on us. And also, being as they're rolling out the Anakin with stap now, it would be easy for them to just rig up the production line to make this figure set. So they already have all the parts made. Everything's already in place. It's just a matter of repainting the figure. That's really all it is. And as you know, Hot Toys likes to repaint things very often. We get a lot of repaints. So I see this one definitely happening probably within this next string of Attack of the Clones releases. I definitely see us getting the battle droid with the stap. But also, too, I think Hot Toys likes to separate the figure from the vehicle to try to sell to people who don't want the vehicle or can't afford it. So I do think we'll probably get the droid by himself and then the droid with the stap. So it's good that they'll give us options there if you want to army build these and you don't want to buy a bunch of staps and spend all that money. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Okay. I want to touch on one that's not related to Attack of the Clones while we're here, because I know everybody's always asking about it. And honestly, I kind of have a mixed opinion. Hi, Gene. How are you? Thanks for joining us on Friday. I know a lot of people are busy on Friday, but I appreciate you guys coming out and sticking with me. It'll be a little more exciting once our guests come on because we're going to have more engagement and conversation. But we're chilling now. We're slowly going through everything, so I appreciate you coming out. So before we finish the rest of the Attack of the Clones releases, I just wanted to talk about this Obi-Wan because I know everybody is going to see it on the Coming Soon page and they're going to ask about it or at least think about it. But as you can see, this one was originally shown off at the 2020 Sideshow Con. And as you guys know, this one was shown alongside the Anakin, the General Anakin from the Clone Wars that's now releasing and starting to ship in the U.S. They just started shipping the standard Anakin without the staff, and I imagine, hopefully, we'll start hearing back soon about the pack with the staff, because that's the one I personally pre-ordered. But anyways, it's pretty crazy that that figure is now starting to ship in the U.S., and plenty of people already have it in their hands from Hong Kong. But we haven't heard anything about this Obi-Wan figure. I wanted to kind of get your guys' opinion on this because the opinion that I've personally gauged from it is just a matter of timing. I wanted to think initially that it was due to the license, but seeing as the Kenobi show is right around the corner at the end of this month, I don't see it being an issue with licensing anymore because we're absolutely going to get that drifter look for Kenobi from the new show. So I kind of wanted to see what you guys think about what the purpose behind this figure not being released is. Could it be Hot Toys is kind of overwhelmed with the releases? Probably not, because as you can see, they're kind of keeping up with new movies and shows. Doctor Strange, as we're going to talk about in a little bit, I mean, they were pretty quick on that one. I mean, the movie has only been out for about a week now, so I just can't come up with a reason as to why the counterpart to a figure that is about to fully ship to everybody has not been released. Me personally, the moment this one is announced, I'll probably pre-order it, and I don't typically do that anymore, but I've just been waiting so long for it, and I really want it for my collection, so I'll probably pre-order this one the moment it goes up. If it does happen, I would hope that it does, because they know the moment that they drop this, it's going to push the sales for not only this figure, but for the Anakin as well, for those that are hesitant about it. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I think right now we're in kind of a unique situation, and the reason I say that is because not only did we get, I'm sorry, lost my train of thought. Not only was the timing odd for May the 4th and Doctor Strange, but we have all this other Marvel content that they're showing off. So whenever that happens, they kind of have to keep up the best they can. I am surprised that at this point, considering we got that teaser post the other day saying more Attack of the Clones was coming, I'm surprised that we haven't gotten at least one figure shown off, at least a prototype or another teaser. So I don't know. Maybe they're saving them for Star Wars Celebration. We talked about that on the last stream, that was a possibility they were going to save them until then. I don't quite know. All I can say is I do think it was just bad timing. And obviously Hot Toys has to do their best to please Disney. And when it comes to a big movie like Multiverse of Madness, they can't exactly ignore it. You know what I mean, per se? So they kind of have to at least keep people on the hook until they can drop a release like they did the other day. So whatever the reason is not a good one. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, not only are we in the world of delays, but Hot Toys is just there. And delays, sometimes with the delays with Hot Toys, obviously it's not their fault. It's kind of the world situation with shipping and labor and such. But I just think they kind of, at this point, have bit off more than they can chew. And that's a part of the reason why I was so surprised that we did get so many releases for May the 4th. Because honestly, I was not expecting to get the amount that we did. And not only that, I was not expecting to hear that more were coming. So yeah, I think it's a good sign that we got more than we expected, but it's a bad sign that this month has not been as packed with Star Wars as we would have hoped. But again, Star Wars Celebration is right around the corner. It's at the end of this month. And I do think it's possible at this point that they are saving a lot of these Attack of the Clones releases for them, because Sideshow did say on their Facebook page the other day that they were going to be announcing some exclusive figures at Star Wars Celebration. So obviously, being that it's a Star Wars convention, it's probably going to be those Attack of the Clones figures at this point. I wish we would have seen some stuff in between then, just so we knew we were going to possibly get more. But what are we going to do, you know? And then we're going to take a look at one more on the coming soon page, unless somebody else has something that they want to look at here. Let me see. TK592 said, in response to Celebration, I'm lowering my expectations. Even the con exclusives overall seem not as great as they should have been. Yeah, you do make a good point there, because if we look at, apart from 6-scale figures, if we look at the stuff that we have gotten so far for con releases for like Funko and other brands, it hasn't been that impressive. I think part of that might be the uncertainty of whether this celebration was actually going to happen. Obviously, a lot of the ticket holders for this Star Wars Celebration were supposed to be going, I believe, in 2020. So it's been a long road for them to decide if they were even going to be able to put on the show this year. So I think because of that, a lot of these vendors kind of threw together what they could. I mean, for example, with Funko, you got all those A New Hope figures that were just very basic. They look great, but they're very basic. Nothing this year that I've seen for exclusives is extravagant like it usually is when you go to cons. Because when you go to cons, they typically make very extravagant stuff because they want you to buy up that con exclusive merch. So I'm hoping that because of that, for Star Wars Celebration, I mean, obviously Mace Windu is a very obvious one because that one's going to grab people's attention and get them to drop those day one pre-orders. I imagine what they're going to do with the con exclusives is put a time window on them, kind of like they did recently with the armor for Toy Fair. With armor, not only was it an initial like push to drop those pre-orders, but the release window was way shorter than we typically see from Hot Toys. And actually, she actually shipped in the U.S. pretty quickly, so I was glad to see that, and I hope that continues to happen, especially with these celebration releases, because it's nice to every once in a while be able to get a figure without waiting over a year. You know what I mean? But anyways, I wanted to show this this clone trooper off. This is one that a lot of people obviously have been looking for. I couldn't find the photos of the Airborne 212th Trooper on the coming soon page. I don't know why that's not showing up for me. If one of you guys see it, definitely let me know. But I personally couldn't find it. I don't know why it's not on there anymore. But like I said at the beginning of the stream, it seems like they're moving stuff around, which could be a good thing. Maybe they're just trying to not get our hopes up for stuff, and they're just removing the stuff that's never going to happen, and they're keeping the stuff that's possible, which is weird because, again, most of the stuff that's sitting on this coming soon page right now is definitely a possibility. It really is, and it's a lot of this stuff is stuff that people have been asking for, and also when the initial Attack of the Clones stuff dropped, everyone was asking about most of these figures that are on this coming soon page. That may be a good sign for releases to come. Gene, I really wanted to go this year. Unfortunately, the hotel situation kind of stunk because, again, a lot of these ticket holders, they've had their tickets since, I believe, 2020. So the hotel reservations that were actually anywhere close to the convention center were kind of few and far between, which is unfortunate because I was like really set on going this year just because it was in my birthday month. I thought it'd be a perfect trip for my birthday. And not only that, a lot of the people in our Discord were going, so I thought it'd been cool to meet up with everybody. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out. The hotel situation just wasn't right. So yeah, I'm not going this year, but if you are, I'm very jealous. Regardless of whether we get all of these releases and such that we're hoping for, it's still going to be a super fun time. They did get a bunch of really good talent there to do signings and meet and greets and such. So I think for that alone, it's worth it. Especially if one of those actors or actresses is one of your favorite characters. I mean, that's kind of like invaluable. You know what I mean? That experience to me is worth it. But yeah, so, we got Lane. I'm going to add Lane in. Lane, can you hear me?
Yes. Here, hold on.
We want to see your beautiful face.
Yeah, my camera's not working right now.
Oh, come on, Lane. You always have technical difficulties.
the Lord of Technical Difficulties says, I don't know what you're talking about, just because everything breaks all the time.
I feel like yours does. Last time you joined, your mic wasn't working. It's just one thing different every time.
Well, greatness affect legends in their own mind. Greatness affects technical aspects of objects because they just get worn down over time. Being in one's presence.
Right.
Well, you should
I guess
know
I'm not great. I guess I'm not
Well,
great. My stuff works fine.
I don't know. Your Discord seems to break a lot, so maybe you're just on that too much.
Oh, that's true. That's very true.
Anyway, how are you and everybody in the chat who we have in the chat doing this evening? Did you have a great week?
Yeah, it's a busy Friday. I apologize to everyone because obviously Thursday works more for everybody because everyone goes out on Friday nights if they actually have a life, unlike us.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, it's very
glance.
But yeah, we got 7 in here. We're gonna have Collecting Madness joining us soon. He's just coming in a little late.
Yeah.
We were just talking about we were going through the coming soon page. I'll show you
That's
real
always
quick.
fun.
So yeah, exactly. It's always fun, but it's interesting because there were a few changes made here, and I want to kind of show you while you were gone. So I filtered by Star Wars, and again, if anyone else is seeing something different, definitely let me know. Oh, we got Maz in the house. How's it going, man?
Hey, Maz.
Good to see you in here.
And figuratively, good to see you, sir.
Figuratively, yes.
Man, just give us the stupid Navarro face.
Oh,
safe
don't
house
start.
with some extra.
Don't start. Do you actually want that? Does anybody actually want that? Like, don't get me wrong, it's really cool, but the space requirement for that is insane. If you have DTOFs, kiss it goodbye.
I'm already worried enough about the Tumblr.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, me too. Me too. But anyway, so we're going through the coming soon page, and we noticed that a lot of stuff on the coming soon page has been removed.
Okay.
Now, if you look at what's on the coming soon page here, you see quite a few Attack of the Clones figures that are definitely very possible, and they're also figures that people have been kind of begging for a long time.
Yeah.
So we kind of went through all of them. I think these 4 specifically right here are very possible to be releases that we'll be getting.
That's a commander, isn't it? Or similar to the one that similar to the commander, the clone trooper that we saw in some of the prototype pictures.
So this is a 212th trooper.
Yeah.
What we saw before was a Phase 1 commander. I actually thought that was a 212 because I'm stupid. But yeah, this is a 212th. Interestingly enough, the Airborne Trooper is no longer on here, and that's another one that a lot of people really wanted.
The helmet that kind of looks like the Purge Trooper's helmet.
Exactly. That's basically exactly what it looks like, is the Purge Trooper helmet. It might even be the same helmet with a couple tweaks. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Oh, Maz. Everybody is going on and on about that Cobb Vanth, but
I don't know.
No head sculpt.
I thought the prototype looked kind of like someone just went, hey, throw something together in 5 minutes and stick it out there.
Yeah, it was definitely rushed because they wanted to show all of that stuff for the Sideshow Con.
Yeah.
But also, like, everybody wants the Cobb Vanth, not only because he has the Boba Fett armor, but because of Timothy Oliphant, and they want that salt and pepper hair. And we didn't get the sculpt. Like, how are you going to give us Cobb Vanth and no salt and pepper hair?
Well, but remember, Casca Reeves originally only had, probably because they didn't have time still working on that or getting licensing things taken care of. When Casca Reeves was shown, we didn't have a head sculpt either. It was just her helmeted look.
What's up, Chris? We got Collecting Madness here now, fashionably late.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Someone with more hair than me, which is like 90% of the population.
Yeah, that's not really a competition, Lane.
Well, you know.
Going off to your point, though, we're just kind of talking about the coming soon stuff right now. And we kind of branched off to a discussion about Casca Reeves. But the thing with Casca Reeves that is of note is that WWE-related licenses are very difficult to get.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why we waited a little bit to see that head sculpt. And I'm glad we got it because it looks amazing, in my opinion. I know a lot of people had bad things to say about it because they always do with every release. But I thought it looked great. I think it looks just like her. And I definitely personally will be displaying it with the sculpt. I know that's sacrilege because it's a Mandalorian and everybody wants to display a Mandalorian with their helmet, but I like the helmet in hand.
For all my Mandos.
And I definitely.
All right. I'm in here getting roasted by my buddy's girlfriend.
Mackie
You need to
crack
stop
mac
sending her
and
a link.
cheese.
Yeah. You need to stop sending links to people. Yeah, laugh it up, Jog. Yes, I definitely think if we do end up getting this figure, they have to give us the head sculpt. I think it'd be a really dumb decision because obviously there's people like me that the head sculpt is a huge selling point. So for me, if that Cobb Vanth doesn't come with the head sculpt, I'll be pretty sad, especially because after the book of Boba Fett, we saw that he's going to be transitioning to a different type of character. Is he going to be like fully cybernetic like RoboCop? I don't think so, but he's going to have some cybernetic parts and he's going to change the look of the character. I kind of want that original look that we saw in The Mandalorian and in the book of Boba Fett. So I'm hoping that we do get that figure just so I have that evolution of Cobb Vanth, because that would be the main one that I want. I'm not really interested in a Robo Cobb Vanth myself.
No, well, for what have they have shown us for how cyborgs look in Star Wars so far, like post Empire. Looking at you, Vespa Gang, with our being modded ain't something I necessarily want to see for poor Cobb Vanth, because he's going to be driving like a purple little go-kart.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want him part of the go-kart gang. Also, too, Dengar. I don't know if anyone here has seen the pictures of Dengar that are on the Star Wars Wikipedia, but he's also disgusting and very weird looking as a cybernetic human being. But so Chris, I just want to get your opinion on the coming soon page, and if you think what we're seeing right now is an indicator of what we might be getting soon. I was telling Lane when he just joined that it looks like they've done some clearing of stuff on the coming soon page. So if you look down here, we do have 4 Attack of the Clones figures that are very possible releases, and I kind of wanted to get your opinion on them. Are these any ones that you would like to see? Do you think any of these are possible, and which ones do you think are most possible coming from the Attack of the Clones line?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to see
Bespin, what's up, my man?
And Padme, for sure. The
That's
Battle
right.
Droid, that one at least, I don't care if we get, because we're getting the Geonosis one, and that'll pretty much do it for me. I would love to see R5, though.
Yeah, so just because Bespin's here, we're going to talk about the R5, because I know he's been begging for that forever since it first showed up on the Coming Soon page.
OT engage with Bespin.
Yes, so we'll talk about
droids
the R5
in general.
Me too, and I think it's nice to see that Hot Toys is willing to continue to make unique droids figures. That KX Enforcer droid was a very random release, and I don't think anyone expected that, but I think it's cool just to show that they are still interested in giving us droid fans some more figures.
One of the only 3 Book of Boba figures. It's like, what?
Right, like why is that what you picked? That I can agree with. I already have K2SO. I wasn't mad about it. I'm going to get one. I think the base is really cool, and I love the weathering, but why is that one of the first Book of Boba Fett figures that we get?
If all of them. We don't know if they're going to do any more from Book of Boba Fett, because that show didn't go over great.
Yeah, but the sequel trilogy didn't either, and we got a lot of figures from that. So I think at the very least we'll get the Book of Boba Fett look for Boba, where he has the different boots and such. But I don't know what else we'll get from that. I would love to get BK, the Wookiee, but that's also a figure that requires a lot of R&D, and we already know that Hot Toys is in the mode of like repainting and pumping out more figures, so
they're just unpredictable too.
Right now, absolutely. They used to be kind of predictable. Exactly.
Yeah, right now, the highlight to me from Book of Boba Fett is the Fett, which feels like it was just a Mando season 2 when they said, let's just slide that over and put the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Maybe not it instead.
So here's my thing with Book of Boba Fett, and then we'll move on to the R5. I still enjoyed the show being a Boba Fett and Mando fan, but I think there's a lot that could have been left out. And obviously everyone would agree, like the whole fake biker gang, as I like to call them, that was not necessary. It added nothing to the story, and it only added fluff. You know what I mean? And it kind of created memes that would have never existed if they just didn't include them in the story, because they added absolutely nothing, in my opinion. I know they were kind of there as like their backup, but they didn't do much in that regard either. Boba Fett still kind of saved the day towards the end. So, and Mando, of course. So I did enjoy Book of Boba Fett, but it wasn't the 10 out of 10 that I was hoping for, because I had such high hopes for that show. But yeah, will I ever rewatch it? Probably not. But I'm glad that I did watch it. It was fun to watch it with my friends.
At least 1/3 of it was good.
Yeah, exactly. At least we got
that was Mando 2.5.
Right. Bespin brings up a good point. I would love this droid. That droid was like,
yeah.
Not only is he really ugly yet unique looking, he was very sassy. And I like when a droid actually has some personality, because obviously some of them are just kind of background characters and they don't do much. So yeah, I would absolutely love to see that.
Give us the
droid. That would be awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Parents groups would have a bad day with that one, with all basically look like cleavers on
That's
it.
what they did in the Clone Wars. They gave them personalities, like the droids and stuff.
Exactly. Like Chopper, for example, from Rebels is probably one of the best personalities from a droid apart from R2 and C-3PO. I was like pleasantly surprised to see how much I enjoyed that character. So I would absolutely love if we got that in 1.6, but who knows if that stuff will ever happen. That's for another day. But Bespin wanted to see the R5. Not that he probably hasn't looked at it enough like we all have, but...
For like 10 years?
Yeah, exactly. But this is one that, like, I think most people that you ask who collect any sort of original trilogy stuff, they would probably purchase this figure. Mm-hmm. Not only is it such an iconic look, but it's such a unique looking droid that we don't have any figures of right now.
And it's
and not only that,
modern times
exactly,
too.
Exactly. And not only that, it's like, is it really that hard for them to make? Yes, it has a different dome, but
I thought Sideshow did R5.
They did.
Yeah.
Sideshow did do R5. But
it was probably
we're Hot
trash.
Toys.
Yeah.
No, some of those older Sideshow droids aren't bad. I do think the older Sideshow droids were a bit higher quality than like the current Sideshow R2-D2. But obviously everyone hopes for the Hot Toys release because we do get the die-cast dome and all these extra accessories with them. I don't know if this one would be die-cast. I would imagine so because it helps provide weight to the figure and stability. But yeah, this is definitely one I would love to see. I don't know if we will be getting this one ever, but it is good to see that it's still on the page. Obviously, that there's possibly no indication of that being a thing, but good to see it hasn't been deleted yet. So I do want to move on. I'm sure you guys saw this post here from Disney, which is obviously super exciting.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're a Star Wars fan, everybody knows whose hat that is. So let's talk about what possible releases based on the rumors and such, and confirm things that we might be getting from this show. I think the first obvious one that first comes to everyone's head is Thrawn. Obviously, Thrawn is a figure that everyone's probably hoping for at this point. If you're a fan of Star Wars Rebels, or if you've read the comics or anything like that, the Sideshow one is not terrible, but it's pretty outdated. So in terms of highly anticipated releases from this show, I think Thrawn's going to be number one. And obviously, because Thrawn was mentioned in The Mandalorian Season 2, we know that Thrawn's coming. So I think that one is a sure bet for a figure that we will be getting once we start getting figures from here. Before I say it, I kind of want to see what you guys are theorizing as far as who you think might be in the show, and do you think we'll see a figure of them? I already know of a character that's been hinted at that I think
Ezra.
is very possible. Exactly. So Ezra. So let's talk about Ezra then. If you've seen Star Wars Rebels, you know that Ezra is kind of like the GOAT in that show. Yes, Kanan was also incredible, such an awesome character, but Ezra is kind of the one that's like the Luke Skywalker. He's like your glimmer of hope amongst
he was
all
fearless.
the things that are going on. He was, and considering where he came from, it was great to see the development of that character.
I still like Sabine better. I think she had a better development arc over the course of the year.
Probably just had a crush on her.
Did
you have a crush on her, Jog?
No. I was too old by the time. Rebels was on. But I just like because she had a spray painted TIE fighter.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with anyone in the Phoenix Squad. I think not only were those characters voice acted extremely well, but they also had really good arcs, I think, across the board. Bespin says his only beef with Hot Toys are usually too clean. Yeah, that's why it's good to see that new Attack of the Clones R2 actually has some dirt on him. I think that one can be definitely used in some original trilogy displays moving forward. I think a lot of people will probably take that one and swap it for their deluxe if they R2 deluxe if they currently have it in like a Dagobah display, because that one's a lot more dirty than the deluxe.
Oh, I'm like 90% sure I'm gonna get that bad boy, and he's gonna be going next to Mando Luke.
Yeah, that'll look great. I was surprised that we never got a Mando Luke 2-pack. I've said that before, so that's a perfect way to display him, because that initial scene when we saw R2 and Mando again. Oh, here we go. So this is Collecting Madness's brother. So apparently Collecting Madness's collection is going to be sold. Sorry to hear that,
selling
dude.
their collection?
I'm not. Not yet.
Not
Name
yet.
your price. Name your price.
See you in 2027.
Yeah, so Gene makes a good point. I do think that that's something that they could touch, being as Sideshow is smart about doing like obscure figures that haven't been done before. So I mean, I definitely think it's possible with that same similar art style that they could do Rebels figures. They definitely would sell well because obviously there's so many Rebels fans. But I guess it remains to be seen. It really depends on how well that this Clone Wars line does, and that'll kind of determine how far they take it. But yeah, a very good point on that.
My personal opinion, I would like to see the animated stuff stay with Sideshow for animation, and if it comes to live action, then Hot Toys can adapt it.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely personally prefer the live action adaptations just because they fit with all of the other figures that we have in our collections. But also that's not to say you can't create a shelf with these new Sideshow animated figures and kind of have your own little animated world, which I think is what a lot of people will do. And I'll probably do the same myself because I actually really do like those figures. Yeah, Clone Trooper, I agree. Ezra was definitely like a multi-dimensional character. He had so many different sides to him, and I think he exceeded a lot of my expectations because obviously his initial introduction into the show, I think he was just very like plain Jane, typical like kid character that Star Wars likes to introduce in every one of their shows and movies. But I do think he grew on me a lot, especially as he started training with Kanan more and became more of like a Jedi type character that I know and love from all the other Star Wars content that I've watched. So definitely that character grew up a lot.
He started as often happens and stuff with like younger teenage characters and stuff. Even Ahsoka, who everybody loves,
was very annoying in the beginning.
Yeah, they start off kind of annoying because I think writers have a tendency to play off certain what mid 20, 30-year-old guys and women think of how like, adolescent, like 13, 14-year-old is going to act,
right.
And their thing is to always make them annoying. Like that's how it always has to start. And it's also a simple storytelling method so that you can quote show quote maturity as they evolve as well. And now that's people who have some talent. Some people just make them annoying the entire time. That can happen too, but
that happens. Like Rose Tico, for example, very annoying character in my opinion. I don't mean to dig up an old grave, but I just had to throw that in.
Yeah, well, Rose didn't have a chance to evolve from being annoying in Rise of Skywalker.
True. It's not the actress's fault. That's true.
No, that's the thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother stream we could go.
Oh, 10
Hot Toys
for hours.
We're glad that we
didn't get.
Yeah, from right before the sequel trilogy, because it would have reminded us more of that. If it was like the end game line of Rise of Skywalker, that would still be going to this day.
Yeah, exactly. Jason, what's up, man? I'm glad you made it out. We're a little sidetracked, but we're talking about what figures we thought we'd be seeing from the Ahsoka series, just kind of an excitement for the series being announced that it's now filming with Dave Filoni's hat on the chair and everything. So we were just talking about possibilities of seeing Ezra as a figure, Thrawn, probably another Ahsoka, because you know how they changed their outfit the most minute way so they could sell more merchandise. So I'm sure we'll see another Ahsoka.
Disney way.
Kumar, glad to see you in here, man. Kumar says Rebels have one of the best story arcs in all of Star Wars. That I agree. Maul obviously is one of those characters that's kind of like destined to fail no matter what he does. And despite that being the story for that character throughout all of the Star Wars media that he's been in, he's still managed to be a really awesome character with great story arcs. And he kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat because he's so maniacal in a lot of the things that he does. So I definitely agree with that. I was very pleased with how his story ended off in Rebels. Yeah. So Sabine, yeah. So you guys are right. There is talk about Sabine. I don't know if it's been confirmed. You guys can let me know. I haven't looked that much into it. But Sabine, I think, would be a great character.
I'd rather not know.
That's true. Rather not.
I don't want to know.
Don't
these
tell us.
right now.
Don't tell us.
I think. Be surprised.
I think a lot of the characters at this point are all just people spreading it by word of mouth. You know what I mean? I don't think anything's confirmed apart from Thrawn, because we know Thrawn was mentioned in Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah.
But all right,
One thing
we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to why a lot of people are here. I don't know about you all, but when I woke up in the middle of the night and saw this announcement, I was insanely excited. We knew it was coming. I wore my my new Doctor Strange shirt.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's what I thought you might be hinting at.
Oh, absolutely. Now, everyone's going to see the price. I know that's the first thing that everyone sees with this figure. This morning, someone asked me what I thought the price was going to be, being that he comes with so much. I personally said $330 to $350. I don't know about you guys. What were you guys expecting as far as price, and how off do you think they are with their pricing?
I can let Lane go first.
I think this kind of fell. Honestly, I didn't think about it that much because I wasn't interested in the figure at all.
Okay, fair.
But you know, it's in the. That is the one thing that I love. That effect with the serpents and stuff. Freaking awesome. That is like one of the coolest, like, kind of attachment stuff like that you can put on for any kind of thing like I think I've ever seen. I think they nailed the look of those things for the movie perfectly.
I agree.
But it's in the price range because the one for No Way Home was $315. And I would say this has probably has more. Whatever you think of the little effect stuff, I think most of that stuff just gets left in the box because it takes up too much space and doesn't look as cool as it does maybe other than a picture. Would put, but if I was getting him, I probably would try and have him on with those things because I think those are cool. But he's in the price range I assumed he would be. I thought he would probably be somewhere between 300 to 350 range, like that $50 range. So he's where I think he would be.
So about the median of what you're expecting. What about you, Chris? Is this kind of what you're expecting as far as price for this figure, or were you hoping he'd be a little bit less?
No, I was definitely expecting this price. I mean, given with everything that we've had coming out recently, I mean, you look at all the figures like Gilgamesh and like Electro, and like you compare all their prices. This is just the natural Hot Toys price. And R2, everything he came with, I mean, he's almost 300. C-3PO diecast, you know, is up there over 300. No, but he comes with a lot, and he comes with that other sculpt, and that, like, with inflation, that's just their prices now. They're in the 300s.
Right. So, Clone Trooper, you do make a good point. However, I kind of want to touch on this a little bit. Yes, it is strange initially when you look at it that a die-cast figure is less expensive than a figure that has no die-cast, but you got to remember, as we look through these pictures here, you got to look at not only what the figure comes with, but the amount of time that's put into all of these accessories and the alternate head sculpts. There's a lot of man hours that go into painting a head sculpt alone. And when they include two head sculpts, that's basically double the man hours that they usually spend on painting a head sculpt. So because of that, I'm not surprised that they put it at a $335 price point.
3PO comes with nothing.
Right. And also
3PO comes with nothing.
Right, like he does have die-cast, but you get a droid head and a blaster and some hands. So it's not like he comes with a lot. So realistically, considering what he comes with, the price is kind of high, I guess you could say, but not compared to what they charge for Iron Man figures. But again, those do come with more.
3PO, if he had more stuff or something, like let's say, I don't know, he wasn't Attack of the Clones, but he was,
Oops.
you know, Empire Strikes Back, which had removable pieces or something like that you could put together to like put on Chewbacca back or something, he'd be $375.
Right.
Like he'd be like the if he had like, I don't know, or there were pieces of him that could go together with the Chewbacca or something like that.
That'd be
if they had
amazing.
one. You know, just not him physically coming apart, but separate, an extra
Right.
headpiece or arm or something.
Right.
And it was still that figure, everything else the same.
Mm-hmm.
That would be, well, probably more these days, but I would compare it to like what we saw with coming with the deluxe of the Chrome Beskar Mando, that he comes with all those bags and the Boba Fett helmet, where half of that you look like, what the hell am I going to do with all that stuff?
Well,
Unless
if you get the swoop bike, it would make sense, but
how much the price was more for him for that.
That's true.
That'd be the same thing like C-3PO would have all kind of a big load of stuff or quote junk like that would push his price up to $375, $400 probably, if he can't get something like that.
I mean,
that's true.
You also got to think about it like this too. So with the battle droid, that's for $190. Sideshow did it back for $130, but was a 2-pack. So like their inflation has literally affected everything. We're talking gas, cars, houses, rent, whatever you name it, everything is up, and that's just the normality of it, really.
Right.
And even with figures, you can go back in the day and people would say, oh, I used to buy gum for 25 cents or go to the movies and eat out all for $5. So
back in
I
my
wouldn't
day.
be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be
Way
surprised
back
if
in
in the
Fort
next
Store
5-10
50
years
ago.
this thing costs $400.
Well,
Right.
I mean, just you can compare, you know, you guys may not collect as much stuff, but just look at when we're talking about a direct comparison that there has been crossover for a lot of collectors. Black Series figures, the average figures are being like $26.
Funko Pops, vintage collection,
Yeah.
all those figures are all going up in price.
Vintage, I think is like $16 to $18 now.
$14.99 plus, yeah.
Yeah,
But let's
compare those.
let's also be honest. If there's people out there in the secondary market willing to pay, $1,000 on some figures or 2-packs, pretty sure people are going to buy this too.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I don't think this is. If you're a Strange fan, this is probably going to be the best Strange. Now there are 4 Stranges, so you have some flexibility. It's not like guys would point out with 3PO where it's that and pay that amount, whether you think it's justified or not, or nothing.
Right. Yeah,
or
or
you're
the
probably
sideshow
more likely to get it. Yeah. This one you have some flexibility. Now the other Stranges are probably secondary market are still going to be similar pricing. If you try and get them, more than likely, unless you get like really lucky, they'll probably be, selling for like Infinity War or something, probably at least $275, $280, $290.
Yeah, $275 to $350 for him on average, from what I've seen.
Yeah, so he'd still be in the same range. So if it's in that range, if you want, even though you have to wait a year or two, a year and a half to 2 years,
right,
then you might as well go for the latest one. That's my opinion on some of these things. There are some ones you might like better. Like even in some ways, I would say like I got Dark Side Anakin. I think that's the best Anakin, but that's a figure that's 3 years old. If you were having to look at someone relatively new, like that's not your favorite look to the character or something, or it's comparable to Darth Vader. Like you're a big like the prequels were your series, so that look to him is like comparable to Darth Vader in your mind for how much you like. Well, you may not be able to afford $600, but when you're having to compare that with the engineering to spending that much, or you could get that Clone Wars Anakin, which is going to be at max $385.
Right.
Which has almost the exact same head sculpt if you look at it comparison wise. And that is a more recent figure that has more recent engineering and stuff put into it. It might hold up better over time. It's not 3 years old already.
That's true.
That's one thing you can look at where it's when you have choice.
Fresh pleather.
Yeah.
So
I want to let me cut you guys off real quick. I want to touch on some of these comments. So Gina's saying that he's surprised that we got back-to-back Doctor Strange figures.
Yeah.
We did actually talk about this on the first stream we did last week. Hot Toys does this very often, especially lately. We've seen it with Mando. We've seen it with Spider-Man figures, Iron Man figures. They know that at the end of the day, they have a lot of completionist collectors that like to collect a lot of different variants of these figures. So because of that, they're perfectly fine selling these different variants of the figures that are currently on pre-order already. So I'm not surprised that we got another one, because you got to think about it. A lot of times with these Hot Toys figures, you're kind of collecting a moment from a TV show or a movie. So the No Way Home figure is a moment from No Way Home that is not special to me and a lot of other people, because that kind of created the whole story and the reason behind the whole mission in that movie. Once Doctor Strange casted that spell, everything went wrong. So for a lot of people, especially for people who are a huge fan of No Way Home, that figure is still going to have a place in their collection, and that's kind of how I feel about it. Am I going to get this Doctor Strange? I'll get to that once we're done going through the pictures, but definitely going to be getting the No Way Home Doctor Strange. I could tell you that. Boston Collectors, what's up, man?
Hey, sure.
Glad to see you in here, dude. If you guys don't know Boston Collectors, you definitely check out his channel. He does a lot of different reviews. He does like early previews when prototype photos are posted. He has a TikTok where he posts content as well, and he does a lot of really cool photography as well. So definitely check him out when you get the chance. Let's see. The second No Way Home sculpt. I haven't compared it. I believe someone on Facebook said that the Infinity War head sculpt was the one with the third eye. I don't know if that's true or not. I own the Infinity War.
This one's coming with a third eye. So I just
No. No, what I'm saying is he's asking if the sculpt is like reused from one of the other figures. I think that's how I'm understanding. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no.
Second head sculpt, no head sculpt.
This one's different. This one.
The main one is different, but the third eye sculpt appears to be like a previously used sculpt. I mean, obviously we don't know because we haven't actually seen the photo. That could have just been a placeholder, but it almost looks like they reused a previous sculpt, whether it's from the No Way Home one or the Infinity War figure, and then just stuck the third eye on it. We're gonna get to a sculpt with the third eye that I saw on Facebook today that I think a lot of you guys will think is really cool.
I'm just
all right,
feeling
Boston.
bad right now. Someone's really trying to tempt me right now because someone.
Who you coming at, Boston?
What? You look like
everybody's referencing food to you with the mac and cheese and now it's sandwiches.
I know. What are you guys trying to say? I'm on a diet right now. Come on, I'm trying.
Hey, there is only pure mayo here.
There he is.
There is pure mayo here.
Like
and I'm
Big
in Texas,
Ed.
where I should be roasted right now. Since I was outside for a walk earlier, but I managed to keep my charming, pale as ghost, Casper the Friendly Ghost complexion.
We're going to see a sudden spike in viewership now that we have your beautiful face on camera.
Yeah, the sexiest thing this side of Dean the Dream.
Yeah, very, very good point, Boston. Inflation is insane for everything right now, and it's unfortunately not only affecting collectors, but everything across the board. It doesn't matter what you collect, it's affecting everything. Because unfortunately, a lot of these companies kind of control the market for all these different IPs. So, strange. Yeah. So with this figure, especially if you buy from Sideshow or any other companies that have rewards points, this figures like these are ones that you definitely want to save up rewards points for. As much as it's tempting to day one pre-order a figure that you really love the character of, you have to save up points for these, because if you pay outright full price for all of these figures and you keep doing that, that's going to add up over time. That's like an extra figure eventually that you could have saved by just letting your rewards points build up a little bit. Also, too, you have to remember with Marvel, and it's sad to say, and it's affecting the newer Star Wars releases as well, but a lot of this stuff, when it releases on the secondary market, it immediately is worth $50 less than it was when it released. So if you're patient and you watch the secondary market, you could definitely get a lot of this stuff cheaper than it is on retail. And a lot of it, these people took it out of the box, looked at it, and they're like, cool, I don't want it. I want something else. Kind of like Lane does. He's a perfect example.
I can't disagree with you on that. I can make a sour face and go. But, you're right. There are times you're going to have that happen. You're going to have plenty of figures you love, and you're going to get some that you just look at and we're like for whatever reason, and sometimes it has to do because you've been waiting 2 years for it, where you felt the magic of that. I'm sure that explains why there's a lot of in-game figures out there, is people remember the moments and stuff that they love, but it was in 2019. you know.
Right.
And by the time you get some of these things like Iron Patriot, along when you consider the price of them and everything you spent, you kind of like, you know, because not everybody is a dark side, you know, Anakin or something like that. That's also the difference sometimes, I think, with older, you know, where you got like original trilogy Star Wars figures, where there's
Right.
still demand for those because we know everything that happened for like 3 or 4 decades. That get, you know, build up in your mind too. Why Boba
Right.
Fett? Why do people spend so much time on Boba Fett? There's still people who have the movie version of them in their head, and it's your self creation.
Because that's all they want to remember. So apparently Boston was defending me when I was getting roasted about the mac and cheese.
You don't look like mac and cheese, more like a onion roll.
Oh, here we go. Onion roll? I'd rather be mac and cheese. Gene, so I think we're going to wait. I like to give people enough time because I know people get busy and they don't have the time to go see movies that fast. So next week, we're going to talk completely spoiler-filled. We're going to have a completely spoiler-filled stream about Multiverse of Madness, releases we want to see if we don't see them before then. You know, anything could happen from here and like next Thursday. So yeah, we're going to keep the spoilers to a minimum. You're welcome to discuss characters that have been shown in the trailer and such. Like you can talk about Defender Strange. You could talk about the zombie Strange. Just don't mention anything about
America
the plot if you don't
Chavez,
mind.
who they've shown, stuff like that.
Right, exactly. Anything that they've shown in trailers, like if you haven't seen the trailers, that's your fault at this point. You know what I mean? So while we're looking through pictures of this, I just want to say, I don't know what you guys think of this new outfit, but I absolutely love like the hits of the light blue with the red trim. Yeah. I just think that's absolutely beautiful, and I love that they actually changed the outfit significantly from what we've seen previously, because obviously they made some changes to the No Way Home outfit, but they didn't change much. This, I think, is like a good evolution leading into like closer to the comic book look of Doctor Strange, and that's why I really love this outfit. And I think it looked great on screen. Not only does it look great on the hot toy, but it looks great on screen, and I kept focusing on it the whole time. I was like, wow, his outfit looks really good. Yeah, Bob. I think Defender Strange looks really cool.
Dylan in the chat.
Yeah, we love Bob. Bob's everywhere.
That man's everywhere.
You don't know Bob, but you know Bob. He's everywhere.
You're right.
You don't have to look far to find Bob. So we appreciate you coming out, Bob. Bob's in our Facebook group. If you guys aren't in the Facebook group, please hop in the Facebook group. We're giving away 2 $25 Sideshow gift cards for 500 members. So as long as you're subscribed and you're in the Facebook group, you could possibly win a Sideshow gift card. So definitely join there. Also, if you guys don't mind, if you're enjoying the stream and you like what we do, please drop a like on the stream and subscribe if you haven't. It definitely helps us out, helps us build our channel since we're so small. So I really appreciate that in advance.
Definitely, man. Keep liking it up. And literally, there's a bunch of people in here that just are great supporters, man.
Absolutely. I know when it... Go ahead.
Right, good. I was going to say, Bob first. Dylan's got... Bob, yeah. I'm always first in my own hits, sir. I don't need everybody else to do it for me. But Bob Dylan has never made a more truer comment, I don't think, ever on YouTube.
Hey, I think I remember being in other streamers' comment sections and joining in with Bob messing with you, especially about the Ghirardellis. I won't make you show the Ghirardelli snowmen on stream. You already did that once. You already did it
those are gone.
Finally, from Christmas 2021.
Yeah, they've been sitting there for a long time. Now I just have annoying kitty time here because it wants to eat, but it's still like 2 hours before it's dinner.
That's how cats are. They want to eat when they want to eat, and they'll never let you go. I know that's how my cats are. It's very annoying. I don't know if I'll ever use these shackles. It's cool that they included them. Yeah. Obviously, especially because they kind of dampened his powers and he couldn't use his powers. It's a cool concept. So because of that, I'm glad that they included him, but I personally would never display him with these.
Hey, you said his cape came with a stand, right?
It does. So we'll get to that. Hold on.
That's what I'm excited about.
What is this in front of his hand? Does anyone recognize that?
It's too kind of blurred out.
It has to be like one of those tease things, but like that's something he did in them.
What is that? Does anyone in the chat know what this is here? I wanted to be excited for a second and be like, oh, it's one of the Ultron drones, but it doesn't look. It's way too low. What is that? maybe we'll go through the pictures and it'll just look different. But that does look like a tease. Why is it grayed out or
Did
blurred out?
America
You know what I mean?
Chavez have something like that he would be?
I don't
Maybe
recognize
it's a
it.
tease of her.
There you go, Lane. Beautiful cat. Your cat's getting some love. He needs his own channel, or he or she.
No, she doesn't. She's
She's
enough
not getting one.
She's enough of the center of the universe as it is, with her little stupid tail.
You just
up
see the
my
tail
camera.
going back and forth.
This is a really cool pose. I love this pose.
Yeah,
right here.
no, that's nice. The
And look at that
hands and stuff.
sculpt, man. Like you can't really complain about that sculpt. That sculpt is easily the best Doctor Strange sculpt we've gotten so far.
Do you guys remember when everybody was like this time last year was
Oh.
kind of going, "Oh, the sculpts, Hot Toys can't do their sculpts, like they're turning
Right.
into trash. They're
Right,
not putting the
exactly.
time and effort." And I would just say, well, let's see. I think we can say just since September last year, not even in a full year, maybe in like the last 8 or 9 months, we've seen Wenwu, which was improved. So now it looks like Tony Leung in plastic. We've had the Gilgamesh sculpt. Whatever you think about the figure or what it comes with, the sculpt for that is amazing. This one looks really crazy. The Cascarees one looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we already knew they did Tamora Morrison's facial sculpt, the quarter scale Boba Fett facial sculpt for him looks like in a much larger scale, looks like pretty amazing too. You know, so they
Right.
seem to be back. They seem to be back on track a little bit for their for their making and production side of things. Now getting stuff out and stuff, that's a different matter.
Right.
Does that
So-
eye look like it's sculpted? Or does it look like they photoshopped it on there and then blurred it?
See, that's hard to say. Me personally,
Like they want to do it.
right. In my mind, I would think that this is photoshopped and we're going to be seeing an actual sculpt. But
Yeah.
there's going to be a third party one. These third party guys work really quick, and I'm going to be. You guys may have seen it. I'm not sure if you have, but I'm going to show you a third party strange, third eye strange sculpt that's already been made, and it looks great. Is it going to be as good as the Hot Toys one? I don't think so, because I think the sculpt is good, but it's not 100% there. But I'm going to show that in a minute here. I just wanted to touch on Bob Dylan's little roast comment here. He said, when InArt makes their strange, the cuffs will be die cast and a pre-order exclusive. Yeah, dude, trust me.
Really be.
Yeah, as someone who pre-ordered the InArt Joker 2-pack, I didn't get the rooted. I got the sculpted. But as someone who pre-ordered that, I was very disappointed to see that die-cast handcuffs were like the exclusive 48-hour window accessory or
You
whatever
mean
it was.
that didn't make you jump up and down for joy?
No,
shocked.
it didn't. I was just like, oh, great, handcuffs. I'm glad I got them. It's a thing I could say I got over people who waited, but, you know, like who's going to display him with the handcuffs apart from when he's just sitting there in front of the jail cell, you know?
I think there was some place that you could get them as. not
Yeah,
just
you can-
as a pre-order.
You can go on Alibaba, eBay, and there's so many places that make die-cast handcuffs, so that's very common. All right, so since Bob brought it up, yes, we're going to be talking about the Nut Piz head sculpt. Let me bring that up here real quick. I could be pronouncing that wrong. I don't know. I've just never heard anybody actually pronounce
That
it.
is one of the more unique names that I have heard.
To say the least, yeah.
While we wait, there was another thing I saw that people were mad about the sculpt being shown for people who haven't shown the movie. I mean, not like shown, but blurred. And there was like a meme under it, and it was like, could you imagine if they did that with Cap's Endgame figure and just blurred out Mjolnir or whatever?
Yeah, I remember seeing that. That's like their new thing. The new thing is blurring. Like Norman Osborn, they blurred his face. They blurred his sculpt.
Before we were saying, wait a minute, does that look like they just repurposed?
This is third party?
Right. Yeah. So
Wow.
So for those who are familiar with Nut Piz, you know that this guy's pretty talented. Like, not only that, a lot of these third-party sculptors, they do very limited runs and they charge like $250, $300. It gets crazy. But his sculpts are very affordable. I've seen them anywhere from like $65 to $85. So not only does he make them affordable, but he produces enough to where most people are going to be able to get their hands on them if you're quick enough with the pre-orders. But I just wanted to go through this. Obviously, if you look at the sculpt, I don't think it's 100% there, but it's pretty damn good. Whoops. So even from the side angle, you definitely see Benedict Cumberbatch there. I think it's a really good likeness, and I do like that it has the drooping down hair in the front because I think that adds so much to these strange sculpts. Because to me, like that's the Doctor Strange look that I'm looking for personally. The slicked back hair doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah.
But you can see from every single angle, it's just beautiful.
Which he's not showing off in the comics currently because he's dead.
Dang, that's cool. Yeah, it is a little scary. Some of these, obviously with Hot Toys, sometimes it's so accurate, it's a bit scary. And obviously with this one, it's kind of creepy and it's very accurate. So
hello, Pennywise, I'm looking at you.
Right. But yeah, this is really awesome. So I just wanted to show this to you guys because I think he did a great job on this.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I don't know. Something tells me that third eye is more than just a visual thing. So I don't know if the hair will stop the third eye's power. I guess we'll find out. Oh my gosh. That'd be ridiculous. And honestly, I could see somebody doing that. Everybody always wants to be unique and do something funny. I could see that happening. All right, let's go back to our other screen here.
I thought it was funny when I convinced someone who had Krennic and I was trying to convince someone who had Krennic and the hot toy for Grand Moff Tarkin that he needed to set them up so that they were posed like they were doing a Macarena off who got to get command.
Does he come with the book too?
Yeah, so he does come with a book. We're going to get to all the accessories here in a second, but I just wanted to show you guys this pose because this is another one I'm like, they really killed it with the posing here, and this looks amazing. Like, would I display him like this? Probably not, just because I have other things in mind.
That looks like his I am Iron Man that you'll need to put, you'll need to put Iron Strange in.
Obligatory hero pose. That's what that is. So this is what I was talking about earlier when we were talking on Facebook Messenger, Chris. Like, this is incredible, and why haven't they done this sooner?
For real, man. That's like one of the best things of the movie when you see him just take that and it goes flying.
Right, because the cloak of levitation kind of has a mind of its own. You know what I mean? So giving the cloak of levitation its own stand where you can kind of have an action pose where Strange is kind of sending it out to do its work, I think was such a good idea, and it just gives so much more life to like the character of the cloak of levitation. I think this is amazing. It's such a great idea, and I hope that it's posable. It looks like it's one of those posable bars, and I hope I'm right.
Yeah, it should be.
This guy, the cloak here, had one of my favorite moments in the movie. I can't say anything about it, even though it won't be a major spoiler, but you guys might know there was a particular moment when stuff was going on first around him where he was addressing the cloak.
Yeah, it's
we'll
always crazy in those movies, like how much of a personality you get from this cloak.
Right,
like it makes you actually feel like it's a person. Yeah.
As long as they don't sound like the droid from Solo, we're okay.
Yeah, please no. Bob says he can check out. Oh, I guess he's talking about the book superhero pose. He can check out the girl walking and maintain eye contact with Kristen.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, that is a Bob Dylan comment if there ever was going to be one.
Here's another view of the these little dragon effects.
I love those.
So nice, and the fact that they painted the head is just such a nice touch, and I think it transitions so well. Like, to me, this is probably the best magic effect we've seen from even I would even put it above the gauntlet grabber that he had with the Infinity War figure, because for me that was my favorite so far, the gauntlet grabber where he was grabbing Thanos' glove. But to me, this is awesome. Yeah, exactly. We all want the hand dragons. I think everybody was kind of sold on that when we saw that teaser picture.
Yeah, that only thing is, I think the U.S. production company for the U.S. Godzilla movies can maybe need to look to sue somebody, because it looks like they kind of just copied the U.S. version of King Ghidorah and King Ghidorah headpieces and just went put them on the end of some Strange's orange magic thing and went
that may
good
be
to rock and roll.
That's true. What Twisted says there.
That is hilarious. Is that a cos baby?
So we're gonna get to that, Lane. Hold on. So Twisted Savage does make a good point. As great as that posable stand looks for the cloak, this is going to be the deal breaker. That's a very good point. If it doesn't have strong wiring in it, like thicker wiring, it's just going to droop down like there's no tomorrow, and it's going to be completely pointless. So this time they better not skimp on the wiring, because you know they do it a lot. And even when they put wiring, it's only in the sides or only in the bottom, and I don't know why they do that.
Yeah, because that's what's selling me right now is the cape. Like, that's what's making me get this one over No Way Home. So
absolutely.
If it fails, then yeah.
Right. So I just wanted to show this. No, I don't think anybody's excited for Cos Babies. Let's just clear the air on that. Even if you collect Funko Pops, you don't like Cos Babies. They're pretty lame, although some of them look cool.
Well,
but I will say
$50 instead of $15 too.
Right. So it's not even Funko price. But what I will say is, could this possibly be a little teaser from Hot Toys that we're going to be getting the Undead Strange? Who knows? I hope it's a good sign. Obviously, it's not always a good sign because they always release all the cool stuff in Cos Babies. But I just thought it was funny that they dropped the prototype photos for this new Strange, and then we got this. And I'm like, why did we just get this? Are they like playing mind games with us or something? I hope they are, because for me personally, I'll tell you all right now, as much as I love this new Doctor Strange, and you guys have seen the Undead Strange in the trailer, but when you guys actually go to see the movie, if you haven't already, that scene blew me away so much, not only from a CGI standpoint, but it was so much more than I expected it, and it was not at all what I expected. I expected like something completely different from what we actually got. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'll just let you guys know, like, it's such an incredibly cool character.
It is true. The trailer
just from a
misled
design,
a lot.
absolutely. Just from a design standpoint, it's so cool. Oh yeah, we did. He's right. We did get a Logan and an X-23 Cos Baby, and never got those figures. And I'm surprised, because that being like one of the last Wolverine movies with Hugh Jackman, I'm surprised that that they didn't release a figure of him. But yeah, I feel like Wolverine hasn't gotten a lot of love from Hot Toys. We got 2 Wolverine figures. We got the one in the ugly X-Men suit, the black and yellow that everyone seems to like, which I think is ugly. And we got a
from the Wolverine.
Yeah, we got the tank top Logan from the Wolverine. But yeah, so this is the Cos Baby. Nothing special. He doesn't have the most special part about him with the Cos Baby, which I'm not surprised, because this is a cheaper little figure. There he goes. Origins, Last Stand. Okay, gotcha.
If you want to say something is, we talk about Hot Toys and overpriced stuff, these are it.
Like totally agree.
When we talk about overpriced for what they should be, this has been the way for them forever. Since they came out.
It's a glorified Funko Pop. Are they nice? Yeah. But it's literally just like a little plastic figure, and most of the design on it is screen printed. So
and that looks terrible.
Yeah, I don't see where the value comes in there. Oh, yeah, Collecting Madness froze. I didn't even realize that this whole time he's just been sitting there frozen. I had no idea. Well, Collecting Madness will be back soon. So I want to transition into Moon Knight really quick. If you haven't seen the last episode, close your ears, which at this point, I mean, you should have watched it by now.
It's over a week old.
Right. But I'm going to show you, and you can already kind of see it at the top, but I want to show this off to everybody. This is a figure that I just found myself really wanting after I saw her pop up in the show.
Scarlet Scarab?
Right. So Scarlet Scarab, to me, the costume design was incredible. And not only that, her scenes were incredible. I thought she was really badass.
Way better than the original Scarlet Scarab costume.
I thought she was really badass. I loved her scenes. I thought the character that she was portraying before she got her powers, I'm like, she deserves these powers. She's a good person. I think she would do well with getting these powers. And I'm glad to see that they didn't just be like, oh, she's just going to borrow the powers, like she was saying, you know what I mean? Like, this, obviously, she's here to stay. Coming from someone who didn't read any of the comics or anything about Scarlet Scarab, it was a nice introduction to the character for me. I've obviously seen pictures and stuff from the comics, but in a lot from a live action standpoint, I thought it was a great introduction to the character.
Yeah. I would like to have seen her become Moon Knight, a female Moon Knight, even if
that would have been cool too, though. Right? Like kind of like Venom.
I'm glad they didn't do that, because sometimes what we think we would like to see ends up probably, unless there's a good story reason, she would have done it for Hot Toys would have liked it, because maybe she would have done it for 30 seconds, and then they could have put out, having already made a lot of the design for the suit, would have been like female. It's like, Layla Moon Knight, boom, and there you go, 2 figures for the thing. We're done.
Yeah, I'm glad that they went this, because it saves my wallet. Because then if they would have done a female Moon Knight, I would have been like, oh, that's gonna look really cool next to the Oscar Isaac Moon Knight. So I'm glad that she's got her own look, and this kind of gives me like Wonder Woman 84 vibes.
Yeah,
but
yeah, definitely.
Right, these wings are a lot smaller, so I would hope that they would be foldable. I think they probably would be, just because they're so much smaller.
Don't remind me I got that deluxe coming, man.
Yeah, I don't. I saw a picture. This guy made like set aside a floating shelf on his wall just for that figure because it's so massive. So good luck to you who's trying to save space for your tumbler, because that thing is massive. Massive.
Yeah. Well, I've got a third DTOF that someday after I move is going to finally get put together.
Good luck to you who's trying to save space for your tumbler.
Oh, he just slammed us with the audio. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much room you're going to find for it, because that's not going to fit in a DTOF, right? Like those wings are way too wide. Right?
They're like, I think 4 feet wide.
Because you got the like that's right. You got the fully extended.
They're not as big, I don't think, as the air scavenger, the third party.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that soon
Vulture.
too. Yeah.
No. Mm-hmm. The older one though, the one older one that came out, the Iron Scavenger.
You're talking about the one from Jazz Inc.
Jazz Inc. Yeah, or whatever. The Iron Scavenger,
Jazz Inc.
4 feet long or something with the wingspan.
Yeah, we're going to actually talk about those in a little bit. It's funny you bring that up. So we're going to transition from her to another one that I know everybody wants is Mr. Knight. And Mr. Knight, funnily enough, kind of found his powers, per se, in this last episode. And I think that, to me, made him so much cooler. Because that moment where they were on the boat in episode 5 and he realized, like, oh, well, if we're the same person, if I'm Mark too, he's like, then I could do this. And he starts fighting him and beating the crap out of him. I thought that was a hilarious transition into like this character finally learning how to use his abilities. And I think that makes the possibility of this being a figure so much cooler. Not only does he look really cool, but I think the character's really cool. And the fact that they're still together with the multiple personality situation, I think they would go great together on the show. So we got to get the Mr. Knight figure. We got to.
I just think a little too much he was reminding me of Daredevil.
In a way, yeah, especially with those little batons.
Yeah, I mean, just that one specific scene with him doing that. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I felt like someone just watched like the one-shot continuous hall fight.
Yeah,
from the first season of Daredevil.
That was their inspiration.
Yeah, let's strip it down a little bit because we only can give like 30 seconds to this.
Right.
And watch it just go boop, boop, boop. But it's more like the Final Fight 90s one man versus the army fight game where they would just beat the crap out of everything, but put into like hyperspeed as he just take dudes out left and right. I didn't realize there were that many bad guys left still for the bad guy because I thought they got eaten or whatever by the evil mummies. Yeah,
exactly. Are you going to be, I didn't ask you, I don't know if I've asked you before, Chris, are you going to be picking up anything from Moon Knight, or is that not your thing?
No, it's not I haven't even watched it yet either.
Okay, well, there's our answer. So no Moon Knight for Chris. All right, so funny that Lane mentioned this earlier. We're going to move on
it's true.
He just said, well, too bad for you, none for you.
Right. You're not getting it. Lane and I are. Maybe Lane.
Yeah, maybe later on.
Yeah, after you watch it, if you fall in love with the character, maybe you'll justify spending the money on it.
Let me ask you, Hot Touch, just before we move on here, though.
Sure.
Air Predator. Overall, what did you think of the series as a whole? And did you like the last episode? Because I've heard a lot of mixed people. I love the last episode. The only episode I hated, like absolutely hated, was the 5th episode, which a lot of people seem to like because I just said that should have all the stuff they did in the full 45, 49 minutes should have been in 30, and they should have set up and had the final conflict starting beforehand. And like the end to leave as the cliffhanger into the last episode, because I would have liked to have seen some more wrap up. Like the Disney Plus series seem to always do this, except maybe Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Give us at the end of one of these series, if it's just the one thing, the last 10 or 15 minutes should be wrap up seeing the characters, what they're doing, and kind of getting to have interaction after the conflict's over. We don't get that in Moon Knight at all.
Right.
I mean, we don't even get to see the two main characters kind of interact, embrace, or whatever happened after the final conflict.
Right. Yeah, so to answer your first question, yes, I really did enjoy the 6th episode. I think, personally, easily by far, episode 6 was the strongest. Episode 5, I did like it, but it kind of reminded me of the early WandaVision episodes where it was just so slow and it was just like it seemed like such a filler episode. And I agree, like they kind of drew out the whole like mental hospital dream thing. They drew it out too far.
As much as I liked Hippo Gods after
right, yeah, she was hilarious, but they drew it out too much. I do agree with that. So yeah, overall, I did really enjoy the show. They're definitely going to obviously be doing more.
Well, they said it's only supposed to be a single thing. They still insist it's only a single thing.
There's no way. I mean, the fact that not only did we see the third person out at the end do that, take out, what is that jerk's name?
That's the only problem. We never remember the name. I know it's Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke's character, whatever his name.
I just know if it's Ethan Hawke. That's what I think.
Right, so after we saw Ethan Hawke, after we saw that punk get smoked, we saw the introduction officially of his third personality. So seeing as we got the Scarlet Scarab and
that was the
introduction of the third personality.
That was the only thing that was missing to me, is that Ethan Hawke's character should got his own kind of costume form or something, right, as an avatar. I mean,
that was weird. That was very weird.
Where he just charges with my magic cane of destruction.
Right.
It's like, like Wolverine and Sabretooth when they're seen running at each other. And,
Victor!
Yeah, and just like the guys who have costumes getting ready to pound the crap out of each other.
Right.
It felt like he should have gotten, and not even something crazy necessarily, but some form of costume that would have fit. I mean,
I
He
agree.
could have got a big goofy alligator head mask on his face for all we know, or something to make it show that he was now. Because I mean, the previous guy was Alexander the Great. Got to have something cool for your.
Exactly.
The other guy was Alexander the Great. Anyway, let's get to Air Predator.
Yeah, so let's talk about Air Predator. Crazy thing this week happened. Not only did we get this Air Predator, and everyone was hyped. This is from Eternal, the company is called. Not only did we get this Air Predator, but we got another third-party response kinda to this release, and it's hard to think that it wasn't a response because they probably saw this and like, oh crap, we're about to drop one. Let's drop ours. So in my opinion, we're gonna show the weaker of the two first, and that's not saying that this one doesn't have some benefits because it definitely does. But I just want to start by showing you guys some of the prototype pictures that we have here, just so you can kind of see what it looks like and what it comes with. I think overall it definitely has a good look. I like the look of the jacket. I think that's like apart from the wings, obviously, the jacket is really important because if it doesn't sit properly under that harness, it's going to look very bunched up and weird. So I have no complaints there with that. Helmet looks good. Now this is the biggest complaint I have. This literally looks like a potato with a face on it. I'm sorry.
That looks like Michael Keaton with Botox sucked out of his face.
Michael Keaton made of crayons. Yeah, the sculpt is bad. Now, a lot of people made the argument, and I do agree. Like
his eyes.
When you get his eyes, his forehead, his lips, his cheeks, his nose. A lot of people made the argument that you're never going to use a sculpt with Vulture, and even as someone who tries to use the head sculpt as much as I can, I wouldn't use the sculpt with Vulture either. So,
but when you say that would go against your argument, it's still you're paying for part of that.
Right, and that was the next thing I was going to say.
If you're putting that out for money,
right
now you might say it's third party, it's not Hot Toys. We're all not stupid. We realize it's not Hot Toys. Or even 3-0.
But it's Hot Toys money now. It's Hot Toys money now. So exactly, like the sculpt is crappy. You're not going to use it. But as to Lane's point, like it doesn't matter. You're paying the money for it. You should get something of quality. Obviously, in the sculpt department, I'm not personally familiar with this company prior to this. But in the sculpt department, and I think in the paint department, they need a little work because I think the skin tones. It could be the lighting. But based on what I'm seeing here, the skin tone looks a little off too. But definitely not a strong sculpt. But overall, I think for third party, it's definitely decent looking. And I will point this out before we actually get to it. But they did get the scale as far as the size of the wings, the wingspan. It is closer to what it should be with this figure, more so than the next one we'll talk about. I don't know what website I'm on here, but let me see if they have a description of everything it comes with. Of course they don't. Okay, well, I was going to see if they had a description of everything it comes with as far as, like, if it's real leather, because I can't remember. I think this one has a real leather jacket, which it looks to be like it is, just based on how it's laying, because that's the thing with pleather. Not only is it cheap, but a lot of Hot Toys and a lot of these other companies use pleather because it just
Hot Toys
lays.
would stop using pleather. I really
Me
wish they
too.
would.
Me too. Either switch to like a sculpted split cut boot for the boots or just something sculpted. But you can kind of tell when something's pleather just based on how it lays. Like pleather is thinner, so it lays differently than like a real leather jacket. And just the way that this is kind of bunching up in the middle tells me that this is probably real leather. And I believe I read that it was real leather. So that is cool to see, at least for the price. I think this is like $320 US, which again, you're with third party, you're kind of like pricing yourself out there. I understand he comes with these big wings, but you're kind of pricing yourself out for some people. Me, like, seeing as we'll probably never get a Hot Toys Vulture, like, would I pay it? Possibly. But we're going to look at this next one, and I think a lot of you would agree. For the most part, this one is definitely a stronger figure in a lot of ways. Again, they both have their strengths and weaknesses. I'm not trying to crap on the Eternal one because it definitely has some positives over the Toys Era one that I'm about to show. But the thing with
says it's real leather.
Okay, so cool. So this one does have real leather. I'm glad I wasn't wrong about that, and my memory served me well. So I believe, and Kumar, you may be able to correct me on this one because I'm sure you've done your research. I believe this Toys Era one has a pleather jacket. I mean, and right off the bat, you could see the color difference in the jacket. So that would tell me this is probably pleather, just because that other one looks like real leather when you look at it. But here's the thing, guys. When we're just going back and forth between these two, you can right off the bat, you could see which one's the better figure. In terms of details and fitment of the clothing, I mean, to me, it's very obvious that the Toys Era one has a better clothing fitment right off the bat. Not only that, if we look at like the knee pieces here, you're losing detail on these knee pieces. Whereas if you look over at the Toys Era, you get a lot of nice sculpted detail, not only here, but in the braces along the legs, kind of like in these like exoskeleton type pieces.
Yeah.
So to me, I mean, as far as aesthetics go, I don't know about you guys.
I already was going to go with this company, even though the wings, I think, are the smallest of Jazz Inc., the other one and this one. That doesn't matter to me because I want it to fit in the display anyway. I missed the Jazz Inc. one, but I do have the Green Goblin that they made. So I know the company, and then I've seen the Ock, but Hot Toys came out. So, yeah. I'm probably going to pick this up.
I think you made two very good points there. One, I don't know about you guys. I haven't seen anything. I'm not big on third party, I'll be honest with you, but I still keep up. I haven't seen anything else from Eternal. And obviously, Toys Era has a pretty good track record at this point for their releases. Obviously, nothing's been perfect because they are a third party, and a lot of third party companies tend to make mistakes. But I do think overall, in many areas, this one outshines the Eternal one. The helmet, in my opinion, is better. The jacket looks better. The fitment of the clothing is better. I think the details on the exoskeleton and the boots is better. Sculpt, right off the bat, you could see this is a way stronger head sculpt by a long shot. And again, back to Lane's point.
Perfect,
still not perfect.
It's closer.
Still not perfect.
It don't look like a potato.
Right. It doesn't look like a potato. And not only that, like we were talking about earlier, I'm sure you guys can see it in the paint department. This one has a much more even textured skin tone. And not only that, the skin tone is closer to Michael Keaton's skin tone. The other one was just way off.
I see you got something on the brain today. I see.
Keaton. But yeah, this one's just much stronger, in my opinion, across the board. Again, to Lane's point, like, whether you're going to use the sculpt or not, he does have a point. Like, it still is nice to see that they put the effort into something that you're going to be paying for as part of the overall package. Really great picture here. I like this Photoshop. Not the best Photoshop, but it kind of reminds me of towards the end, the vulture scenes that we saw in the first film. So this is really cool. Blaster.
I didn't look into all of these before on here because I knew we were going to talk about it tonight. What's the difference in price? Do you know with this one and the other one?
So off the top of my head, I don't remember. We do have pricing for this one, and we're going to click onto the website to see it. I don't have pricing off the top of my head on the other one, but I believe they were like around the exact same price. Lane, I don't know if you saw it, but we'll look at pricing here in a second. That's a good shot of the head sculpt. I think that lighting definitely helps a lot for that sculpt. Yeah. So overall, I
Yeah, they're
think
just badass shots. I think their shots are better than the other one.
absolutely,
Yeah, I agree.
absolutely. Which again comes from a company with more experience. Just like Hot Toys, they're always trying to improve their photography and their poses and such. And I think that shows with Toys R Us. They're just a much more experienced company.
I think most of the time Hot Toys tries with their picture. Not always, though.
Yeah, that's true. And from what Chris said on the last stream, it sounds like they're like starting to use like third-party sources to take their photos for them, and it's definitely showing that it's improving. I will say this
Doctor
picture.
Strange fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Great pictures. I think this picture is a great example of how much smaller the wings are on this figure because you can kind of see it all in one shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is really cool. Like that would be a cool way to pose them. And here's the thing: when you pose them like this, you can kind of hide how small these wings are when they're posed in this manner.
Yeah. You know what's crazy to me though is that I feel like I like the smaller wings better anyway. Like as if somebody was an actual vulture or something. I feel like I don't know. Aesthetically, it just looks more proportionate to me.
I see what you're saying.
Even if it's not accurate.
Kumar, Chris can probably touch on this because he does own the Toys R Us Fiend. So, Chris, what do you think about the quality on the Toys R Us Fiend figure, being that's the one that you have in hand?
So he's right back there, kind of crouched on the glider.
Mm-hmm.
I've had him in that pose probably for a year now. It's been quite some time in the same pose, and I've had no flaking issues. No joint problems. He's great. We probably changed it up maybe 2 times, but like he's still crouched on the glider, and the base, like the glider's still intact, and it's a solid piece. Like it surprised me, and I'm actually not even getting the Hot Toys one because of this guy.
Because you like that one so much. It's fair. Yeah. Is the suit like a painted foam kind of like that foam material that they use on some sort of suits?
I'm going to be honest with you. I have no clue what material it is because it doesn't feel like a leather, but it's like got a rubbery kind of feel. Like you can kind of stick to it. It's hard to explain the exact material. It might be a mixture of different things, but whatever they did, it's working. Now, I will say their glue kind of, I think his shoulder, the only problem I did have, his shoulder did come undone because that even happens with Hot Toys.
A lot, more than you'd think. I just wanted to show here with this one. It's really cool to me that they're including LED lights in the wings because I think, it's going to have those same crappy batteries, so it's not going to make much of a difference. But can you imagine how that looks with the lights off, with the helmet LEDs lit up in the wings? That probably looks incredible. Are there any more pictures? Can you imagine if we actually, that would be cool if that was like a strong purple light in there to make that look like it was actually shooting. That'd be cool. Yeah, overall, both of these are really nice. Like I said, they have their strengths and weaknesses. Oh, I did not know that. The gun, okay. So the gun does have a light LED feature.
Too. Nice.
But there's no way this is actually like... Yeah, there's no way it's an actual like.
It's probably like the Jazz Ink. You can just turn it yourself.
Right, spin it. Yeah, because believe it or not, like the diecast, the new diecast Iron Man, he has a motor on his back that actually spins with batteries. So that's why I was like, did they do that with this? But yeah, really cool release. I'm gonna sit back for a little bit and see if anything else comes out. But honestly, I'm leaning towards this one as well, because it is more case friendly. I definitely won't be getting the Jazz Ink one. One, it's way too expensive, and two, it's massive. But yeah, I just wanted to show this one thing real quick, and then we'll move on to the next thing that we're going to talk about.
And one more thing to Kumar is that in the promo photos for the Fiend, in his mouth, they didn't have that mesh guard. So that was like totally a surprise as far as detail goes. So I think they're excellent in detail. The weathering on the glider, so
I just wanted to, that's a good point, because a lot of these companies don't do that. They kind of give you what you're expecting, and that's that. So it's always nice when Hot Toys or other third party companies will throw in something that you didn't expect, because it's kind of like a welcome extra accessory that you get.
Oh yeah, Toys R Us is way.
Yeah, it just brought it to life.
So I just wanted to show you guys this. This is the size comparison, but you could see, like Lane was saying, like the size difference. I mean, you're looking at 10 centimeters between the Eternal toys and the Toys era. And then you got the Jazz Inc., which is absolutely massive, but closer to the proper scale. Obviously, when you look at them, the Jazz Inc. is by far the best in terms of the look of the wings and the scale and proportions of them. But again, the Toys era, let's show the price. Now that we've seen this, let's show the price.
The only problem for these is...
And that's the photo I saw earlier of the different wingspans, but I would still want Toys era.
So in terms of price, we're looking at $340. Yeah, $40. What a good deal. We're looking at $340.
And I was confused there for a second.
I believe the Eternal Toys one. Right. Everyone check out right now. No, I believe the Eternal Toys one is like $330, $320. So it's like right in the same ballpark. But again, as far as this one says leather jacket as well. I could have sworn this was pleather, but hey, if this is actual leather, I mean, it kind of seems like a no-brainer to me. I swear I saw on another website that it wasn't real leather, but hey, if it is, that's a huge plus. All right, so
honestly, and with everything you get with this, I'm okay with that number.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's still a third-party figure, and they're not paying the licensing fees, so that price is still kind of a hard pill to swallow. It's definitely not a good price. It kind of reminds me of like when the third-party Spawn dropped, and that was in a similar price range, and everyone was very angry.
Yeah.
Yes, it has wings and such, but also this one has scaled down wings, so it's like the price is still a little high. But either way, we're going to move on to another really exciting third-party release, which this one I do think, and I'll get your guys' opinion on it after we show it, but I do think it's possible that we will get this one from Hot Toys because they did tell us that we would be getting more figures from this movie. And what I'm showing here, excuse me, whoops. Oh, I just pulled that right off.
It's just too bad for the Vulture, the Keaton Vulture. Is the last time we see him is in Morbius, that everybody wants to burn from their brain and ignore it ever happened.
Right. Here we go.
Isn't he returning as Batman as well? Keaton?
Yes.
Yeah, and what? Flash
in 2023.
So you'll get him that way from Hot Toys.
Yeah, that's a way more people prefer him.
And they did show his costume design, and it looks pretty good. So this was a very welcomed release, in my opinion, because if Hot Toys doesn't release it, I'm going to be grabbing this. This is obviously, for those who've seen the Batman, this is the Riddler from the Batman. I will say this isn't a difficult costume to nail because there's not much to it, but I do think they did a good job. Is it perfect? No, but I do think I kind of see Paul Dano's eyes in there. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I kind of see Paul Dano's eyes in there. I don't know. That's really cool. Like the Dragunov, that's a really cool accessory. The one thing he didn't include, which I'm hoping if we do get a Hot Toys one, and it's got a removable magazine, that's always cool that they include that. The one thing I was hoping they would include that they didn't was a roll of duct tape. I was really surprised they didn't do that because obviously like that would have been a really obvious and easy accessory to make. You can see we did get we got the carpet scraper, which is an obvious accessory here. We got some Riddler notes, which I believe you do get like one of the Riddler like cards that Batman opened. I think that comes with the Hot Toys Batman.
It does.
So yeah, that'd be cool if we got an actual card, but this just looks like the envelopes, which is fine. I mean, it is a cheap third-party figure. We'll look at price here in a second. But it's got a nice little decorative base. Doesn't come with a lot of hands, but I think for the price, which is $154, you're kind of getting what you pay for there. I think that's a pretty fair price, and that's really where third party should be, in my opinion. I have not personally looked at a bunch of other releases from this company, Yan Toys. I don't know if this is their first or if I just haven't seen what they've done in the past. But I think this figure is super nice. I think it's possible that this will push Hot Toys to release theirs if they've already worked on a prototype. And I do think when I look at a list of characters that I want to see and could see happening from Hot Toys for the Batman, I think this is one of them. For me, personally, on my list, it would be Gordon, the Riddler, and I want to see a Selena Kyle as well. because I really liked Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, and I think she would make for an awesome figure. And obviously, she would pose really well with the Batman.
Mhm.
So I'm really hoping that we see a Selena Kyle from this movie. I don't know what else they plan for this movie. I know they said in their one post that there's more coming soon, but who knows if they're just going to be like, here's your Batmobile, goodbye, and that's it. You know what I mean? I hope not. What about you guys? Is there anything else you want to see from this movie, or is that about what you were expecting as well, or hoping for, rather?
I'm not getting anything from it, so.
All right, Lane. But if you were to pick one, like, did you enjoy the movie? Let me ask you that. I don't remember.
Yeah, I like the movie actually a lot.
So if you were buying figures from this line, who would you personally like to see apart from the Batman? Like, what would be an obvious choice for Hot Toys?
Zoe Kravitz Catwoman, I think, is the only one. I honestly did not like this version of the Riddler.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, he's got a lot of competition. I know some people actually like Jim Carrey as the Riddler. It's like, it seems like as time goes on, people grow to like him more. But I don't know. Me personally, here's the thing. Like, There Will Be Blood is one of my favorite movies of all time. And Paul Dano was like the pathetic, like, crazy preacher in that movie. So when I found out Paul Dano was the one who got this role, I was already kind of biased, you know what I mean? And I kind of liked the darkness of this character, because I think he, apart from the Batman obviously being very dark himself, I think he kind of played to a lot of the dark themes in this movie. So I really liked him as a character personally, but I did too. Yeah, I could definitely agree with Zoe Kravitz. She was great as Catwoman.
What about
it's
Penguin?
Crazy. Penguin's another one. Go ahead.
I think Penguin, probably of the supporting characters, was probably the one who I liked the best in the movie.
And like, what a transformation from Colin Farrell. Holy crap.
You're like, wait, that's Colin Farrell? And you're looking like,
unbelievable.
How do we go from that
to a handsome man, right? Like that was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it was him.
Yeah, Colin Farrell's a very, very good looking guy.
Right. So for him to go from that to what we saw in the movie, it was very impressive, not only from his performance, because you couldn't tell it was Colin Farrell, but also from the makeup department. Like it was an amazing transformation. I do think it would be a cool figure. Chris, that's a good point, but I don't know if that's one that I need. Sorry if I mispronounced this. Tyria said, I did not know it was Colin until a few days after when I read about it. Honestly, if I didn't know beforehand, I probably wouldn't have known either. Just because, one, his performance was that convincing, and if you know, Colin Farrell is not from the U.S., so
he did a good job getting rid of his accent.
Exactly, he did such a great job falling into that role. That. Yeah, I guess you can call it his Gotham City accent. But yeah, he did a great job. I think that was probably one of his better roles. I really liked him as Grindelwald, but I know those movies are kind of like hit or miss for a lot of people.
Well, the only person who had a better acting role than him was showing off the coolness factor was the shades for Carmine Falcone. Being able to be worn at night and in the dark.
Mm-hmm. I really liked all of those scenes. Like, it's just the cinematography in that movie was incredible, and like the club scenes, that first club scene where he goes down and just starts beating everyone's ass, that was just amazing. Those are the type of scenes that made me fall in love with Pattinson's Batman. I just loved like the darkness to it.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I actually admitted on another stream, I think it was Brother Cousins, and I told everybody that I wasn't a Batman fan.
Oh my gosh! You just
how dare
you just
which I mean, you know, I like Batman, but like he's not my favorite, is what I'm saying. And I was never really into the Nolan universe, I think is what it's called, with Christian Bale.
See, that's sacrilege. Sacrilege.
So like I like them, but I never got attached to them, if that makes sense. And I love Heath Ledger's Joker, obviously, but I don't know. And Batflick, I kind of just got along with because Henry Cavill's my Superman, so I accepted it.
So here,
and I just don't have a Batman figure. So once I saw this movie, and I actually went to, the movies to go see it, I believe it was probably my first Batman seeing in the movies and not on my own TV. I developed an attachment. Now I feel like Pattinson is my favorite Batman, so I'm still debating on picking up the figure. I don't want to go too deep.
Yeah, it's tough because that movie was so good. I'm definitely like all in on the Hot Toys stuff. For me, I'm like the exact opposite. I'm not like massive on the whole DC universe, and I know that's a hot take because there's probably some DC fans in here. But for me, like Batman has always been like what I focused on with DC. I love Batman. I love the Arkham games. I love Michael Keaton's Batman. I love Christian Bale. Christian Bale is my Batman. Like the Dark Knight trilogy is always going to be my favorite Batman media. But that being said, like I hate to say it, but I loved this movie so much. I think over Michael Keaton for me would be Pattinson, just because I've been waiting for like a dark twist on a Batman movie for a long time. Oh, what'd you get?
No, this is to let you know where I stand.
Oh, come on.
I have to go very
rub it in. Rub it in.
Kevin's still debating on getting that too. He had the DX.
DX12,
he sold it.
Yeah, he had the DX12.
If you had this DX12, I wouldn't say probably get this, but
I would. Oh my god, that figure.
He had the Joker as well, and he sold them both.
His Joker I think was Kit Bash, but yeah, I'm very jealous, Lane. I haven't pre-ordered him yet.
Legit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very jealous because that's a figure I haven't pre-ordered yet, and I absolutely am getting him. I've got, I think I said this on last stream. I've got Two-Face on the way from Australia. I bought it on Pop Culture's like crazy sale. I got him for like $105, which is insane to me because I had some like rewards points and stuff there. So I got my idea is I'm gonna have DX19, either the Bat Pod or the Tumbler. I haven't decided how much space I want to dedicate. Lane needs to stop talking about the Tumbler.
Now I will say Bale's Tumbler is the best. I like Bale's
come
Tumbler
get your tumblers,
the best.
Yeah. You said what?
I will say that. I said I will say I do like Bale's Tumbler the best.
Yeah. It's just got so many really cool moving parts and so many design aspects that you wouldn't see in an actual car that makes it seem like it belongs to Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
But in this, that's the thing about this new movie, though. It's like
it's just raw and real.
Right. It was the opposite. It's like this movie not only felt really real, but like everything in the universe felt real.
He took a Dodge Challenger,
souped it up and
the body, and put a jet engine in it.
That first opening scene, like not being a Batman fan, I went in with zero expectations, and then when he came out of the dark in that opening scene with the music and just beat that dude I was like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
No, but I
was like, I'm in. I'm sold.
That the thing is that the opening chase scene in the Batman, or the chase scene with the Batman, the way it made it look to me is I always thought that it looked like Penguin was driving some sort of like souped up muscle car when he was trying to like race away and everything like that. That's what I thought it looked like for some of the angles, not just some regular piece of crap car. Like I thought he was actually driving some sort of like muscle car or something like that was high speed that he was racing away from, and he's like, "Yeah, I got you." Like he got you because he was driving his muscle vehicle, and then the Batman just came out, and then I saw the actual car, and I'm like, "No, wait a minute, that's just a regular piece of shit."
Right, and he's like trying to pit maneuver him, and that scene was great. This is a funny point from Andrew. He says my favorite quote in Batman are his footsteps.
It's true, man. He acted with his feet and with his eyes.
And this, the scene in that movie and the Batman when they were talking about like they're like looking in the dark, they're committing a crime, and they keep looking in the dark, seeing if he's there. Like that to me, like really sold me on this character also, because it's like he really became vengeance. Like these criminals are thinking twice before they do stuff. They're looking over their shoulder, wondering if he's going to be there, and that to me is just so badass. Like that's what I've wanted to see in a Batman for so long. Because if you play if you've played the Arkham games and stuff, it kind of has like that dark twist on it throughout the story, and this movie just like turned it up a notch. And that's what I was really hoping to see when I saw the original trailer where he's like beating the crap out of the dude. He's saying, "I am vengeance." Like I was like, please be the theme of the movie.
And less of, "I am vengeance.
Right.
I am Renee."
Where is she?
As much as I love Batman, but that's also one of the things that I think that makes Bale Batman endearing now.
Right, his voice.
I found it annoying in 2005. When they were actually coming out, I'm like, "What is he doing?" Why is he talking like he just like sucked all the air out of his body somehow and then is trying to talk at the same time?
But with his character, that was like his way of trying to sound like vicious
Menacing.
as Batman, menacing, right? Whereas you have the weenie Batman. What's his name? Why can't it?
What, Val Kilmer?
No, he is a weenie. Val Kilmer is a weenie. Batfleck. Batfleck to me is the weenie Batman. He had to use a voice modulator.
Kevin hated that too.
A lot of people
I
love
didn't mind
Batfleck. No disrespect to Batfleck fan, but the fact that he had a voice modulator trying to like sound tough to Superman, I'm like, bro, you're a weenie. You're an absolute weenie. That scene was cool though. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. That was a cool scene because that shows like you can't underestimate Batman. He's just a man, but you can't underestimate him.
But my problem with him was I know this is supposed to be older, angrier, sort of semi-retired Batman because of whatever happened to Robin at the hands of the Joker and stuff, which is still the Jared Leto Joker who had damage on his forehead. But
don't even start on Jared Leto Joker, please.
But you have to admit that. Where
you got to get the gold chains out to talk about him.
Yeah.
And the tattoos.
Well, Suicide Squad version of him. The actual version in the Snyder cut, that
looked
was only one scene.
A lot better. Looked a lot better.
The scene between them and stuff like that where he's like holding out the Joker card and Batman just says, and you remember what happened to Harley Quinn when she was dying in my arms. And just the look, because, they established that version of Joker in whatever narcissism he has for self-love for himself. That version of him did have some sort of affection for her. And to hear Batman like kind of stabbing at him, actually, that like she did say you need to kill him, and for him to hear that, just how when he pulls the card away, you can see how angry the Joker is, like where he's been poking the entire time. And he's just trying to restrain himself from trying to just like grab Batman and try and strangle him to death or something like that. Like, I thought that scene was great. That's a one-time Batfleck I actually liked it. Now, admittedly, he was in 2 bad movies, so it doesn't help completely.
I think, that's a good point. I think that's the biggest thing, is like he had bad scripts, so it didn't allow me to enjoy the character. And as much as I love Henry Cavill, I didn't hate him as Superman, but it's like the scripts are what got in the way for a lot of these characters and me finding enjoyment in these characters.
Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
Because Man of Steel was great.
Yeah, Gal Gadot, like the first Wonder Woman movie was awesome.
She had a movie where she got to be cool, and because in Batman v Superman, she was not a focus character.
Right.
She got some time to shine at the end of the movie where we went, wow, actually, she's kind of cool.
Right. They didn't just defile her throughout the whole movie like they did with every other character.
And then she got a good movie. Now, whatever we think about Wonder Woman 84, Wonder Woman 84 is some parts that has some interesting, cool moments, but it was a train wreck of a story.
Yeah, I didn't even go see it.
I saw it after the fact, and it sucked.
I saw it on what was it?
HBO Max.
HBO Max. So I didn't.
Me too. So being that I didn't pay for it, I was like, this is a mediocre movie. Still hurt. Yeah.
Hurt even worse in some ways, because at least I've sometimes paid for a bad movie. It makes me willing to more go with it than where I watch it for free and I go, man, I just burned time away in my life.
Nothing hurts more than feeling like you got robbed by a movie theater because the movie sucks so bad.
Just need more stuff like Snyder Cut.
That's true.
I actually like.
But hey, even bad movies can give us good hot toys, though.
That's true. That's very true. Because that 2-pack with the black suit Superman and Nightmare Batman, that's amazing. I will say that the Nightmare Batman is like one of my favorite like Batman designs.
And that golden
really, because I'm only thinking about picking it up just to get the black suit Superman.
Yeah. The Golden Iron Woman, what do we want to say for the massive size of the wings is I think they did a good job with that figure.
Oh yeah, it looks cool. Like it's an engineering feat on its own for a figure because those wings are massive.
And I think that, the regular Wonder Woman, the classic look style one they have coming of her, what's the problem when she wasn't in that look enough in the goddamn movie?
Yeah.
But where they're having sculpted hair and everything, I think that figure with the sculpted hair looks like it could be maybe could be the best of the, which you would assume. So, we always assume over years that there would be improvement, that whatever the latest one should be, at least from a technical aspect, should be the best one. Maybe it's not always the best costume or whatever, but that one could be the best looking and I think best overall Wonder Woman figure of when that one finally comes out, whatever that is, someday over the rainbow.
Someday, eventually. I just want to touch on Andrew's comment, and then we'll probably wrap it up here soon because we're just under 2 hours. So Andrew said, the movie at the very beginning shows you what the Riddler is trying to become. When the movie opened with the scope, it directly mirrored Bruce scoping on Selena. I actually never realized that. Here's the thing. I haven't rewatched it. I was just so in the moment when I went to see this movie in theaters because I was so excited and so hyped for it. I didn't pay attention to some of the smaller details, I'll be honest with you. So I am going to find the time, because with this movie, whether you saw it in theaters or you watching it, you got to find time because it's a 3-hour-long movie. But I do want to rewatch it at some point because I know there's a lot of stuff I miss, and also I just really want to rewatch it because it was such a good movie. But
yeah.
Anything else you guys want to say before we close out here? Anything? Oh, one more thing that I did not touch on, and we'll kind of close out with this. Did you guys see the post that was translated regarding InArt's 1/6 figures that are going to be coming out over the 2022-2023?
Yep. And did you guys see how Queen now is starting to put some of their stuff actually on Sideshow?
Right. So that's another thing.
We won't go into the whole deal.
There's, I don't know if you saw this. I guess Toys Wonderland is now doing this thing on their site where it's a get it now, pay later. So I guess you can get collectibles on their site now and pay them off instead of paying off and then it ships. So like,
that's interesting.
That sounds like an even worse way to put yourself in deeper in the hole.
Debt.
Yeah, and I don't think.
But that's how a lot of places do stuff, though, too.
Mm-hmm. I don't think everyone's going to go flocking to Toys Wonderland because of that, because they kind of have like a bad taste in their mouth for that.
I dropped them.
Yeah, I've bought from them like twice. That's it.
They've almost sucked me in because they had just a recent, which is
those lightning deals that they do.
Well, they sucked me in almost because they're carrying that Venom Red Carnage color kind of power pose figure. The
artist mix. You like that?
You want that?
I like it with the red.
You know who liked that color a lot? Monica really liked that.
Yeah,
that figure.
As a friend of his owns all three, has gotten the other two, and he says it's huge though. Like he says, it's really.
It looked big compared to the dude that was showing it off. It looked big. It's definitely not something that I would buy, but I do think it's cool.
I'm just waiting on Carnage. I got him.
Yeah, I'm getting Carnage. I haven't pre-ordered him yet, but I'm going to get Carnage.
More Venom.
And I'm going to get the new Venom because that's probably going to be the last Carnage we ever get. So I'm absolutely going to get him.
No, I got Venom and I got the Carnage Deluxe, and he's already. All I got to do is put whenever next year he releases, he'll be shipped.
Yeah, you get that Eddie Brock head.
My last Marvel stuff for a while, I think, like newer any pre-ordering stuff, because I'm probably not going to get Moon Knight as much as I actually think the figure looks cool. Not anything else I'm going to go with is I'm probably because I've already got Wenwu. He's my last figure I pre-ordered. And I'm going to get Shang-Chi, but I think that's going to be it because the price point for them, and they're going into a multiverse kind of setup that I'm doing for a large group of Marvel figures. Those are probably going to be the last two because $250 is a sweet spot for me.
That's true. That I wish a lot of the figures stayed in that point. I'll show you real quick. I showed this to Chris the other day when I got it.
$250 is my price range too. Like I feel like that's the flat line rate.
Like Yondu?
I wish. I don't have Yondu yet, but this is one that I grabbed the other day.
Rocket. Got to put him.
I want him, but I didn't know he looked like that.
Yeah, so this is the Rocket Deluxe. I literally paid. It was on the secondary market. He's literally only missing that little like cassette inner liner. That's the only thing he's missing. And I paid $135 for him. And this is the deluxe. And he's not missing anything. Wow. He's not damaged.
Is he still in stock?
No, he's long sold out. All the Volume 2 stuff is sold out now. The last one was Gamora, and she held on forever, and then she finally sold out. Actually,
which is a great figure.
Nebula. Nebula was the last one.
Gamora went out. Gamora looks amazing.
I don't know. I feel like Gamora was there for longer than I would have thought, considering she's like the only nice Gamora. Because the Volume 1 Gamora is kind of whack. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like that blue outfit. Don't like it at all.
The Volume 2 is the one we had, and she looked fantastic.
The Volume 2 one's really nice. I just got it not long ago from, he was actually in our chat, Twisted Savage. Shout out to Twisted Savage. He gave me a good deal on her. I was going to unbox the figure I got today on stream, which is the Star-Lord Deluxe, but it showed up with some issues that weren't mentioned. So once I get that figured out with the seller, I'll probably show him off maybe on stream next week. That's a really cool figure. I've seen the Infinity War one in person, but that one just comes with some really cool accessories, and I'm glad I went with the deluxe Volume 2 one because I really like that gray shirt with the red long coat. I just think it's a really good contrast.
Put him with Iron Patriot.
Oh yeah, Iron Patriot. That's who he goes with.
Oh yeah, recreating the scene where he's on the shoulder.
Oh, that's right. I'm gonna have my Star-Lord Volume 2 probably with the cassette tape just because it feels right. You know what I mean? And he comes with the Awesome Mix Volume 2 cassette as well. So that's probably that'll be how I display mine. But I'm gonna get that figured out tonight with the seller, and then hopefully I'll be able to show it off on next week's stream. Yeah. So Twisted Savage, I've been begging this man for probably at least 2 months now to sell me his Yondu, and every single time I ask him, he's like, "You're not getting it. Now you're definitely not getting it." So I'm probably still gonna bother him, but I've let him be because I got my Gamora. He gave me a good deal on her. So I'm gonna leave him be, but I really appreciate you selling me that Gamora Twisted because she's awesome.
Yeah,
I actually don't regret that at all.
Who got Yondu today? He got it a good deal on the Yondu, man. It
so
pretty amazing.
That figure is incredible. Railcar Boys, who was in the chat, he's one of my friends in real life, and he has Yondu Deluxe, so I've got to see him in person, and that figure is incredible. Like the likeness on the head sculpt. And the tailoring on the jacket and everything is just amazing. And those effects on the little arrow are just some of the best that they've ever done. So I'm definitely going to get that figure eventually. I'm not going to lie to you. I recently watched the Punisher show, and now I'm like, I have to have the John Bernthal Punisher. I have to. I'm like obsessed with the Punisher now.
Did you see someone, if you had something good, if you guys, I saw a guy, he was putting up for a trade for the Blade 2 figure.
I don't have him. I would do that trade, though, because the Blade 2 figure, soon enough, everybody's going to start falling apart. That's an old figure, and he's got a full pleather jacket, I think.
Yeah.
But that's a nice figure, though, considering how old it is. The Wesley Snipes likeness is really good.
Going back to your in-art thing, the stuff
we completely skipped over.
I was just going to say I'm seeing in the bottom corner the Game of Thrones. I'm just happy they're doing Daenerys and Harry Potter.
They're really doing a lot of random, almost one-off things for this.
So,
but that's what we need. That's what at least I want in my collection.
They are, but they aren't. Because here's the thing: why are they doing a Christian Bale Batman? Why are they doing a Ben Affleck Batman? And why are they doing a Pattinson? The Pattinson makes more sense because it's a recent IP. It's a new IP as far as that film. I think the other two are just to show Hot Toys like, yeah, we're coming for you. This is what we got. I will say, though, I was not aware that they were doing a Joaquin Phoenix Joker. That I'm really excited for because I absolutely love that movie. I think Joaquin Phoenix did such a great job. And I think that Joker would look pretty good in your display with the Pattinson Batman. I know they're not technically in the same universe.
They should be.
Right, they should be. He would fit really well in that universe. I know the timing as far as like when that film happened, it's different, but I think they would fit really well together. So I'm excited to see that. Obviously, I was telling you earlier, Chris, like Harry Potter, I'm super hyped for it because all we've had in the past was Star Ace, and Star Ace is legitimately, and Monica and I were talking about this earlier, Star Ace is legitimately the worst company when it comes to licensing.
So soft.
The worst. Soft, really bad sculpts. The Voldemort looks like a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Just really, really bad figures, and the fact that they're charging like upwards of $250 for some of their figures, or were because they don't have the license anymore. Man. Really bad. So to see some Harry Potter figures, I'm sure all the Lord of the Rings fans are really happy, even though we got some good, decent stuff, I should say, from Asmus. It's cool that they're doing more Lord of the Rings stuff because I feel like across the board they haven't been touched enough as a franchise as far as releases are concerned. Anything else? Oh, and then they're doing Mara from Aquaman. Why? Out of all the times to do that, why now when everyone despises Amber Heard? Why do that?
You know what? I would still pick her up just because of the character.
I thought the character sucked. You know who I would rather see, which they actually did a third party of him, is what's his name's character in the purple and silver.
Worm.
Exactly.
Ocean Master.
Yeah, they did the Ocean Master custom. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'd rather see him as a real
Manta, man. Like
Black Manta as well. Very good point. Black Manta would be even cooler. So
I'm still shocked that the statue we got before Pattinson Batman was the Mara. from J&D. That was just like, what?
Right. That's
That's pretty good.
Oh, that's right. Kumar makes a good point. They did actually bring on some of Hot Toys sculptors onto their team years ago.
Someone told me that also, I know that they said someone told me, I think it was the artist who had done the facial sculpt years ago for the not with Queen, but for J&D, the sculptor who did the Catwoman for them was the same one who did the sculpt for the old Hot Toy.
Which it sounds like it's a good pickup on their end. I mean, I think in the sculpting department they're going to have no issues if we're just going by what we've seen with their busts and such, and what we're seeing with the couple figures we've seen so far in the 6-scale line. I think we're in good hands. I'm not on the side of InArt's about to destroy Hot Toys, because I think Hot Toys in the past couple months has been like actively making an effort to do better and to be more communicative. Oh, I don't know what I just said.
Not just
communicate better with their fans, but also like these sculpts and stuff they're putting out recently have been very on point.
And mixing them in and burying them also still with like the troopers and everything else that they get made for cheap.
Right,
the old well, not exactly the same, but the old adage of controlling the shelf space like in the store, like brick and mortar. They're controlling the pre-order. They're controlling the pre-order space.
Right.
For what you're going to see on Sideshow or other things by just, if for some reason, like let's say Queen were at some point to try and get some of their stuff, I'll just say on Sideshow. Like they were able to eventually do that. Sideshow said, here's a contract. We made it work somehow legally.
Right.
Maybe so some character. Yeah. They're going to bury the pre-order space.
Right. Hopefully we see some InArt stuff on Sideshow. It remains to be seen, because obviously when it comes to that, they're playing with their relationship with Hot Toys if they start bringing on their 6-scale stuff. So I don't know if they'll do that.
Yeah, I also don't think, like, even if that did happen, that like people are gonna jump on InArt so quick. I mean, there's already some people saying that they will be Hot Toys, and it's like Hot Toys isn't going anywhere. I mean, look at your cases. These, obviously, Lane has them.
I mean, if they're
going to keep coming
figures,
out with...
They gotcha.
Yeah, well, now it's also like what you're getting with Hot Toys. InArt is still fairly new now.
And we don't know what
it may look better, but they could also be more expensive now, and then shipping
we
get over here
too. About the Ledger Joker. We're already talking about that with the Ledger Joker.
Right, and we don't know what he's going to look like in person. We don't know how he's going to feel. We don't know what the quality is going to be. Like, everyone likes to compare their $3,000 bust to these 6-scale figures, and it does not at all correlate. The amount of money that you're paying towards those $3,000 busts is for the workmanship that goes into a $3,000
and the expectation you should have for them in some ways.
Right, exactly. Your expectations have to be different as well.
I don't think InArt will ever touch Star Wars either.
They can't. I think Hot Toys has a
Hot Toys has got that nailed in the coffin.
Marvel as well.
And Sideshow doesn't want to do too, because they got their own 6-scale figures. Whatever.
You're gonna have to blow up Secret Base to get those ripped from them. They are not.
I think the reason they're touching so much DC is because that's one of the larger franchises that Hot Toys doesn't touch as much as they should. So that's probably why
Warner Bros. Just throws out like everybody gets a license.
Right, and that's probably why they got Harry Potter and stuff too.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But all right, guys.
One more question before you go. If InArt this Daenerys, what season you think? What would you want to see? What season?
5.
I talked to my girlfriend about it.
5.
I'm just gonna chime in real quick. 5. Did you say 5 or did you say I?
5.
5. Okay. So you're season 5. So I talked to my girlfriend about it.
Just so they can make one that makes me forget about that Asmus one with the big bloated Botox face.
Oh
that's the one they put out.
Are you talking about 3-0 or the Asmus actually?
3-0 is one they put out.
So I was telling...
that's the one I got.
Yeah, that... Honestly, in my opinion, I think the older 3-0 one looks nicer in the face than that one. I don't know what happened with that, because here's the thing. Chris and I were talking about this earlier. 3-0 has absolutely improved over time. You can look at their early Game of Thrones stuff and then look at the later stuff like Tormund and Jaime Lannister from Season 7 and Tyrion from Season 7, and they've improved a tremendous amount. Arya,
Yeah, they're
is
hit or
not-
miss
not-
with theirs.
That's the thing, though.
Arya's
Like
a little in
Arya's
between.
a little off. She's a little soft, but they have proven that they can sculpt details and beards and such pretty well. Jon Snow, like that's not a great sculpt, but it's not terrible.
It's
In
better
person,
than
it's
their
much
first
better.
one.
Right.
Yeah, the season 8 was better. That's the one I picked up.
The first one was pretty whack.
That season 5, I wish I had the Drogon to feed that to the Drogon.
Well, that's what I plan on doing.
Yeah.
Well, not
so
feeding,
anyways,
but like plan putting her with.
So being that I have the early season, the first release from 3.0 with the blue outfit, and we've got the exclusive with the dragons. I bought it for my girlfriend not long ago. So being that we have that one already, the only way that we would buy another Daenerys, in my opinion, is if they came out with another one. So now that InArt, who's a much better company as far as, from what we can see, as far as their details and their head sculpts and such is concerned, I think that theirs is going to blow the 3.0 out of the water. It's just, there's no way that it won't, considering what they're capable of with their paint apps and the sculpting team that they have. 3.0 just at that time just wasn't delivering like high quality products. And even with like the newer like Stranger Things stuff that I'm picking up, the Demogorgon is beautiful. I've seen it in person. My friend owns it and I have it on pre-order as well. But although I'm getting the 11 and the Dustin figures, when you look at the sculpt, they are very soft. Hey, Andrew, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for sticking around for most of the stream. I know it was a bit slower of a stream, but, you know, regardless of whether the stream was very popular on certain days, a lot of people go back and watch these replays. We've already seen that on our first episode, so it'll be good for people who, which I do it a lot myself too. I can't catch every live stream and all the guys I watch. Usually I catch Nate from Geeking Out. Shout out to him. I usually catch him most of the time when he's live, and I try to go on like collecting weekly and such, but I don't catch all these streams like I want to, so that's why it's nice that we have the replays. If you aren't able to make it out to the lives on days like this where a lot of people are out doing stuff, you have the replay to watch. So thank you very much for sticking with us the whole time. I really appreciate that. And thank you for being engaging in chat, because it helps us kind of flow through the stream. But I think on that note, we're going to end it. I'm sweating and I need a drink. But thank you so much, of course, to Lane and Collecting Madness for coming out. Lane is almost on every stream known to man, so you'll see him around, and I'm sure he'll join us whenever he can. He's always invited. And Collecting Madness, the link to his channel is in the description. I believe you're doing a $100 sideshow giveaway, something like that. For how many subscribers?
I'm pretty much just doing it once I hit 100 subscribers. It's gonna.
So this man's got money.
But you just go. It's in the title of the video. You go to the video, like the video, subscribe, and then comment under that video. You comment whatever. You can say I suck.
Thank you, Twisted.
And I'll still give you $100. But...
Cool. So just ask him for $100. Go comment on his most recent May the 4th video and just ask
only
him for
one
$100.
winner. I keep saying it like everybody who comments is gonna get it. But
yeah, so he's doing one.
It's
I
gonna
might
be
be
a
doing
drawing.
less money, but I'm doing 2 winners. So really, you have 3 chances of winning. You go on his channel, you can win $100, or you can win 25 to 2 different people. And then Lane, what are you giving away?
Nothing.
Nothing
he's
from
just
Lane.
standing. He's just sitting like.
But Lane gives
win.
away happiness. That's what Lane gives away.
Yeah.
It is free for everybody.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it's so positive. Dude. I love it.
You don't even have to enter any contests. You just get it for free.
Yep. We just smile and go.
Thank you, Gene. Another one. Thank you so much, Gene. You're around basically the
Thank
whole
you,
time.
everybody.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Again, we know we started a little bit slow, but it's just Friday night. That's how it is. And also, the people in California, they're 3 hours behind, so they're at work and stuff. So
Yeah.
we understand that. Thursday is our goal moving forward. Next week, we'll probably have Will back on. He wasn't able to make it tonight because of the scheduling conflict, but that's okay. He was here in spirit. But okay, everybody, have a great night. Thank you so much for coming out and watching our Hot Toys Hotline #2 stream, and we will be back next week on Thursday. Have a good one.
Thank you very much, everybody. You have a very good night.
Take care, guys.